better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You know, one of the things that you teach law students, when you make arguments to juries, make sure you don't insult the jury. And if there was one major blunder during the argument, it was Jerry Nadler, who got ahead of his skis a bit.
Unfortunately, so far I've seen every Republican senator has shown that they want to be part of the cover-up by voting against every document and witness proposed.
And when he said that, there was sort of a hush, a reaction from the senators. This is not the place for that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
First of all, again, we're now on day two. Hopefully will be the end of day two before too long. I see nothing that has changed in the last now day and a half of their 2.5 days that we've been going here.
I don't know about you, but it became mind-numbing after a while. I got the general point you're trying to make the fourth time you told me. So they're over trying their case.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Just last night, there was a video that surfaced of a father who approached you at an event and said, you know, it's not fair. I've saved for my daughter's college education, and now you're talking about forgiving and helping out all the people who didn't save.
By that same logic, what would we have done? Not started Social Security because we didn't start it last week for you or last month for you?
Are you saying tough luck to these people, Senator?
No.
Well, you kind of sort of are.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Isn't the president going to be stronger and harder to beat if he survives this? The answer is yes.
Interesting strategy.
It is my profound honor to be the first president in history to attend the March for Life.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. What did I tell you yesterday? It's not a good strategy in a trial, whether it's in a courtroom or in the U.S. Senate, to go out as the prosecutor and insult the jury. And now, now it turns out that's what happened with Nadler. I mean, and this guy has a law degree. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I just have watched all these trials throughout my entire career. And if you've watched trials on TV, you know how it works. But Nadler doesn't. The round mound of, someone said in my column today, said, doesn't Nadler look like the corpse at a wake? Only if the corpse has been, in the river for the water for 2 or 3 weeks and is all kind of bloated up, But anyway, so Nadler insults these people and says they're part of a cover-up and it's a disgrace and they're treacherous and all this stuff. And apparently Susan Collins, of all people, Susan Collins from Maine, who is not a lawyer either, but she's been in the Senate for a long time, and she thinks to herself, if this were a Senate debate, there would be multiple objections to the presiding officer saying you can't insult people. They have all this crap, the gentlewoman from Maine and the gentleman from Florida, and all of a sudden this fat turd. We're not in a courtroom now, okay? This fat turd comes in and starts insulting all these people. And she wrote a note to Chief Justice Roberts and basically said, what the hell's going on here? What kind of judge are you? And that's what, you didn't see this, Grace?
No, I was just going to say, it's almost like calling people deplorable that you expect to vote for you. What's the sense of calling people idiot, corrupt losers and then saying, by the way, I hope you side with me?
Right. I mean, but, again, you don't have to go to law school or hang out in a courtroom for years to figure this out. It's like we were saying yesterday. Your mother tells you can get more with honey.
You get more bees with honey.
Yeah.
That's what my mom used to say.
Yeah, exactly. And this guy comes out and he these spineless people like Murkowski was insulted too from Alaska. And, who knows about Mitt Romney? He's a foul ball. But, it looks like it's a lot harder now for them to get the votes they need. They need 3 or 4 votes. I guess they need 4 votes from Republicans to get witnesses. I don't. And again, be careful what you wish for, Democrats. Because it's pretty clear they're going to have the Bidens are going to be called, and the whistleblower and all this, and more stuff is coming out about the whistleblower. And the other thing too is someone was pointing out today that you've got some Democrats who have tough races. It's not just Cory Gardner from Colorado or Susan Collins from Maine. You got Democrats like Doug Jones from Alabama. I mean, he's a real underdog to begin with, but if he votes to screw the president and call witnesses, I mean, it's going to be even more impossible for him to get reelected. You got this guy Gary Peters from Michigan. Of course, Trump carried Michigan. Michigan is looking good for Trump. He said that at Mar-a-Lago. He was talking about that when I saw him. He was up 10 points in Michigan. They got an attractive black guy, James, running against this guy Peters, who's just lightweight, and he's got to think about this. Does he want to make one? But of course, the mainstream media isn't talking about it. Peters or Jones or the woman in Minnesota, which the Republicans are making a big play to take Minnesota, because Minnesota's doing well, and they almost took it in 2016, and they got a fairly weak woman candidate. I think her name is Tina Smith, and she probably vote. She'll probably vote. To call witnesses, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to do well with witnesses, and now I guess Trump is disturbed because the opening arguments for his side, Sekulow and those guys, are going to be on Saturday afternoon. And as we all know, I mean, Saturday afternoon is like Death Valley for TV. But when you're dealing with this impeachment, everything is Death Valley, isn't it? I mean, it's gone. They had 11 million people. They had like wall-to-wall coverage on networks and cable the first day, and they had 11 million people. That's not much. Then the second day, it went down 20%. It's under 9 million people. Under 9 million people in a country of 330 million people. And I just don't think anybody's paying attention. It's like Lindsey Graham said. I mean, how can they just keep repeating themselves over and over and over again? These guys, they don't know anything about how to present a case to a jury, or they don't know anything about human nature. If you're making a speech, if you're the district salesman for an auto parts chain, and you're making a pitch to the salesman, you don't go in and insult them, do you? I don't think so. Maybe if you're Glengarry Ross, you do. The first prize is a Cadillac. Second prize is you get fired or whatever. But no, you don't insult people.
Howie, but I think the reason that people like Susan Collins and Murkowski, who are kind of, the rhino people who are a little bit spineless, the reason they're the ones getting offended is because they knew that they were going to be called, liars and unfair and corrupt after they made their decision. But now they're sitting there going, wait a second, you're already calling us all of these things before we've even done anything wrong? Like Susan Collins is used to people turning on her when they don't like how she votes. But to sit there and yell at her before anything's even happened is like, wait a second. You guys usually give us a couple days before you do this.
Yeah, I know. And she says it. She's quoted as saying today, she's saying, Schumer doesn't care about the truth here. He's just trying to get rid of all of us. And, he doesn't think that we can see through his cynicism here. Schumer's misplaying his hand too. All these Dems. I mean, again, this is what happens when you get nothing but kid gloves treatment from the media. You lose it. You get rusty. Your instincts begin to get a little to fade, and that's what's happened here with these guys. They're not they don't come out into the halls every day like a Republican in a crouch, waiting for someone to attack them. They just, whatever I say, they're going to say I'm a virtuoso, I'm masterful, I'm scintillating, oh, I'm succinct. I can speak for 30 hours and they'll say I'm succinct. What they should say is you suck, okay? But then there's a price to be paid for getting a free ride, and that's what's happened here this week with these people. 844-500-4242. We have a lot. We got Representative Andy Biggs with us at 4:30 today from Arizona. He's one of the top Republicans, and he'll be laying out what's going to be happening next. And again, I think the Republicans are just going to blow them. I mean, the Republican lawyers are going to just blow this out of the water. They have the facts on their side, and they have the law on their side, because it's hard to get a conviction when there's no crime. Okay, even by round mound of beclowned standards. That's somebody on the text line came up with that one. We'll be right back. If you want to call in, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Simply Safe Home Security is like getting commercial grade enterprise level security, but for your own home. Think about the security Fortune 500 companies use. They need to know police are going to be on the scene immediately. This is exactly the kind of security you get with Simply Safe. If there's a break-in, Simply Safe uses real video evidence to give police an eyewitness account of the crime. And that means police dispatch up to 3.5 times faster than for a normal burglar alarm. With Simply Safe, you get comprehensive protection for your home. Outdoor cameras and doorbells alert you to anyone approaching your home. Entry, motion, and glass break sensors guard inside. Plus, Simply Safe protects your home from fires, water damage, and carbon monoxide poisoning. It's all monitored 24/7 by live security professionals. You can set up your system yourself with no tools needed, or Simply Safe's experts can do it for you. And it's only 50 cents a day with no contracts. Go to simplysafehowie.com today to get free shipping on your order, plus a free 60-day money-back guarantee. Believe me, you don't want to be burglarized. It's one of life's most unpleasant experiences. That's why you need Simply Safe. Go to simplysafehowie.com to save on home security today. simplysafehowie.com. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the maestro of microaggression. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Dirty Rats podcast. Taylor, you there? Everyone is raving about Dirty Rats.
Taylor,
wherever you going to put McChicken up there on the poll question too?
DirtyRatsPodcast.com. How many chicken sandwiches do you want up there?
Today. Let's put 4 up there: McChicken, Popeye, Chick-fil-A, and
you can call
KFC.
him Fat Boy. Just don't call him late for dinner.
All right, so Chick-fil-A, KFC, Popeyes.
We will bring
McDonald's.
over your McChicken. Just put McChicken from the third world.
Well, we're naming the
Muslim
places,
hellhole that they live
not
in,
the
so that they can have an all.
sandwiches.
Oh, you don't want? Okay,
Paid,
okay. Then put McDonald's. Okay, then put McDonald's. Okay, you can put
How about Wendy's
nice
too?
hotel in Boston. Yeah, put Wendy's in.
All right.
As long as we got room for 5. That's okay.
Sure.
So they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship; it's just authoritarian now. But let's call it Red China. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al-Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
Hi, this is Cindy from Osterville, Massachusetts.
This is Brett Rock from Dunstable, Massachusetts.
This is Amy in Lisbon Falls, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. We talked yesterday about having a poll question on what's the best chicken at a fast food restaurant. So I just talked with Taylor during the break, and we got some texters wanted McDonald's and Wendy's thrown in. So we got room on the question. So what the heck, buttermilk McChickens. It sounds good, but the problem is what's inside the buttermilk breading.
It's real strips of chicken.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's real chicken.
Okay, well, all right. Let's have the question and see what the results are thus far.
Who has the best chicken sandwich? Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, McDonald's, Wendy's, or Kentucky Fried Chicken?
I'm voting for Chick-fil-A.
Grace, is Grace there?
I'm here. I don't feel adequately equipped to vote for these because I have not had every single one.
All right, so
I'm recusing myself from the vote because I don't feel that it is fair to the chickens and the chicken sandwiches if I partake.
I think the only one I haven't sampled on this list is Popeyes, but it's tough between Wendy's and Chick-fil-A. I'm gonna say Wendy's.
Okay, well, this could be a tough one. This could be like one that's pretty close, right down to the wire. I don't know.
Wendy's has a very good bun and thick wedges of tomato. But the Chick-fil-A is leading the pack at 81%.
Wow,
Popeyes,
I don't think that'll stand. It won't be that high for the whole day.
Popeyes at 14%, Wendy's with 3%, KFC at 2%, McDonald's dead last at 1%.
Wow.
1% for McDonald's, that's all? Wow. That must be the guy that texted in yesterday and wanted us to put it on.
Higher than Deval Patrick. Deval Patrick's polling at 0%.
It'll fluctuate.
All right.
Just like our waistlines after we do this taste test.
I'm not a Wendy's person, as you know, that in Natick, the nearest Wendy's to me, they don't have a sign that says over 1 million served. They say over 1 dead.
You can't let one dead person at a Wendy's stop you from experiencing their culinary cuisine.
I have for many years now.
People have died trying to get a Popeyes chicken sandwich.
I know but that's different from being shot, outside the restaurant because you got
dead is dead, Howie.
I know.
All right.
I'm the Jeff Sessions of this chicken sandwich.
No, Grace votes present. Yeah, no, you voted present like you haven't recused yourself. You voted present like Mr. Frosty in his first vote in the Senate.
Or like Tulsi Gabbard.
He spent. I understand why Tulsi voted present, but I don't understand why Mr. Frosty spent his whole life trying to get to the Senate and then he votes present. That's the kind of guy he is. 844-500-4242. Alan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Alan. You there, Alan?
Hi, Howie. Thanks for taking my...
Sure.
Yes. Yep. Thanks for taking my call. I'm just sitting here. I'm running out of duct tape. My head's about ready to explode. It's just two things that are just really just pushing me. The first thing is that everybody just keeps coming out of the woodwork and saying that this corruption case that Trump was investigating has been debunked.
Yeah.
Me personally, I haven't seen anything be debunked yet.
No, they're lying.
More investigating.
They're lying. That's why you wish it was a real trial, Alan, so the defense lawyer could say, objection, Your Honor. I know you have more leeway in an opening argument or what they're using it as a closing argument, but you can't lie. You can't lie. You can shade the facts, but you can't just make stuff up. And that's what they're doing. You're absolutely right. How is it debunked? Now Laura Ingraham had a story. The New York Times got a report that they had a meeting in January of 2016 when Obama was president at the White House. And the whistleblower called the meeting. This rabid, goateed pajama boy whistleblower working in the Obama White House, and they discussed what they were going to do about Hunter Biden with Ukrainians. They brought Ukrainians into the White House to say, what are we going to do about this corruption? And guess what, Alan? The New York Times refused to run the story. That's a shocker, isn't it?
I mean, the president of the United States should be allowed to go after corruption if he feels fit. I mean, right. And another thing, Howie, if a Democrat wins, God help us all, but if a Democrat wins, I want somebody to tell me I'm foolish by saying this. But if a Democrat wins, don't think for a minute they're not going to force Israel, strong arm Israel to sit at the table and work something out with the Palestinians. Yeah. And if they do, they're hypocrites, because that's what they're trying to blame Trump for doing. I mean, really, we all know it. They're going to strong arm.
Someone said today on CNN, Grace, they said the Democrats should have done more study aids, like they do in elementary school, like have a map of Ukraine. I thought to myself, yeah, that would be great to have a map of Ukraine. Let's have a map of Ukraine when Obama became president, before Russia invaded Ukraine, and we gave them some blankets when they were looking for tank buster missiles. And so then we can say, this is what happened when Obama left office. You'll notice that Ukraine is much smaller. Why was that? It's because they didn't get any weapons from Obama. I'm Howie Carr.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papageorge, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Hey, business owners and marketing professionals, would you like to advertise on the Howie Carr Radio Network? Howie's show reaches all across New England. And you know who's listening? Your next customer, client, or business lead. If you're interested in advertising on the Howie Carr Show, call 800-227-7300. That's 800-227-7300. You're listening to Howie, and so is your next customer. Call 800-227-7300 right now.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Okay. Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. So are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Man, are people invested in their chicken sandwiches. You see this text line has exploded yet again for the second day in a row. Jay from Chelsea. So it's bleep you to Kowloons. Jay, it's chicken sandwiches. Kowloons doesn't have a chicken sandwich. You know that.
Jay's just cranky today, I think.
Don't they have chicken chow mein sandwiches?
I don't believe so. No, I don't. Not familiar with any sandwiches at Kowloons. And then somebody says the local has the best chicken sandwich. I must say, after my birthday party show, Grace and I ate with the two winners of the raffle, and I had a chicken parm sandwich, and it was superb. But we're talking about national chains here. But if you're at the local, any of the locals, get the chicken parm sandwich, and you will not be disappointed in the least. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Play the Jonathan Turley cut because I tend to agree with what he said on TV last night or today. Cut one.
I think that this is one where the House is completely unmoored by history and by the law. I think that this will go down as one of the greatest historic blunders of a House of Congress, and rushing the vote by Christmas.
You don't have to have Mr. Congeniality, as your lead counsel in a courtroom situation with a jury. But on the other hand, you don't want to have the most odious, prevaricating, slimy, fat turds out there either. And that's what the Democrats picked. I mean, these are not likable people under any circumstances. And it's amazing that I don't know if you've seen this yet. And the reason we're not going to play it is because you have it's a visual rather than radio friendly. But yesterday afternoon they went to a break, and ABC News for some strange reason was still carrying it, mainly because it was Democrat arguments. So they go to a break, and Sekulow, the president's lawyer, comes out, who I think has been doing a good job. He's been acting as a rational adult in answering these charges when he comes out, because his day is tomorrow when the defense make its opening arguments. So he starts speaking on ABC. And then they cut to George Stephanopoulos, the Democrat operative with a press pass, making $20 million a year. This is a guy who's never covered a real trial, never covered a fire, never covered a shooting. He's not a reporter. He's a Democrat operative with a press pass. So they go to him, and he immediately makes the slash sign across his throat, like, we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk to any Republican lawyers. He doesn't say that. He just makes the sign. So they cut off, and they say, we're going to have a panel, and they go back to the Lucite desk, and there's 6 Democrat operatives, and they've all got different words to describe Adam Schiff: virtuoso, scintillating, brilliant, large neck. It's 844-500-4242. And then this guy Crow from Colorado yesterday, he accused Trump of getting Ukrainian soldiers killed. There hasn't been any war between the Ukrainians and the Russians, I don't think, since Donald Trump was elected. But the main bloodshed between the breakaway country of Ukraine and Russia was when Obama was president. And again, he wouldn't give them any military aid. He wouldn't even give them any aid directly delivered into the country. They had to organize convoys to go to Poland to pick it up. How are they saying that Trump has Ukrainian blood on his hands? It's the exact opposite, as with everything. What they accuse Trump of doing, they did, or they do. And now it turns out that at least 3 of the House managers voted against military aid to Ukraine. Jody Ernst, her staff figured that out. They looked back at some roll call votes. So it was Nadler, Hakeem Jeffries, and one of the other ones all voted against lethal aid to Ukraine. And now they say, Trump has endangered national security. And the Ukrainians didn't even know that there was a hold on the aid. This is just such crap. A texter says, well, I just hope they lead tomorrow when the Republicans have their shot. I hope they lead with that video of Biden at the Council on Foreign Relations bragging about, saying, I'm going to hold up the $1 billion in aid. But obviously that's the key. I mean, that he was shaking down the Ukrainian government to get rid of the prosecutor that was going after the company that was providing his crackhead son with $50,000 a month to buy more crack. Right? But you know what the Democrats was? This is promulgating a completely debunked conspiracy theory that Joe Biden was shaking down the Ukrainians just because they have videotape of him admitting it. That doesn't mean it's not debunked. I have a press release here from the Biden campaign.
A memo about the conclusively debunked.
Yes, conclusively.
And
debunked.
What was the other word?
Malpractice,
doctored.
Yeah. Again, it's very difficult to doctor videotape. 28 frames per second. Okay. Show me where the splice was on that CFR tape. 844-500-4242. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Hi, Howie. How are you?
Hi, good.
Go back to the Jerry Williams days. Hey, I have another word for Adam: the dazzling, the virtuoso, the blowhard. I switch over in the commercials to try to get the live testimony. He was just talking about we need to put ourselves in other people's shoes. What if it were you? What if it were me that this happened to? We were, what about Carter Page?
Yeah. I know that. I mean, there's a story that's being kind of overlooked because they don't want to report it, and also because of this impeachment nonsense was going on. But now the Justice Department is admitting that they improperly sought 2 of the FISA warrants against Carter Page, and they're not going to defend themselves against the other 2. So basically, they're conceding that every surveillance warrant that they sought against Carter Page was totally fraudulent.
I would like to be his lawyer.
I know he's gonna. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a slam dunk now. I mean, the Justice Department isn't even going to contest his arguments when he finally files the suit. It's just a question of how much money he's going to collect, and he should collect a lot.
How many civil rights they violated in the process?
Right. Exactly.
It'll all come out. It's taking time. It'll come out.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it comes out before the election, and I want to see these people in jail is what I want to see. They shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. Did you see too? There's another funny story. I mean, this is kind of minor, but Andrew McCabe is suing because he was fired right before he could collect his pension. This is Andrew McCabe, the number 2 guy at the Justice Department. He's basically a Democrat operative. His wife got $700,000 from Hillary's bundlers when she was running for office in Virginia. And he was intimately involved in getting all these fraudulent warrants against Carter Page. So he says, you can't fire. I was improperly fired because I was fired after business hours. He's a cop. He's a cop. So the Justice Department filed a reply to his brief that he was fired after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He claimed it was an improper, illegal firing because it was after business hours, and they showed the FBI handbook that an FBI special agent, which is what he came in as. I told you he's a briefer, as Dan Bongino puts it. He's a pencil pusher. He's a paper pusher. He's a paper shuffler, a pencil sharpener, but he's a bureaucrat. He's not a cop. He's a bureaucrat, but he's technically a cop. So they produced the FBI agent's handbook, and it says an FBI agent is on duty all the time. They just basically slapped him down. It was beautiful what they did to him.
But isn't it funny, Howie, that's how arrogant these people are, that it's not just enough for him that he's not being thrown in jail, which he should be, but they're that confident that they're going to sue.
Mm-hmm.
People like Lisa Page, who tried to overthrow a duly elected president, aren't just satisfied with getting away with it. They want to sue. They want to be the victim.
Right. Well, I mean, McCabe is not only suing, he's a paid contributor to CNN. He's a news analyst. He did something that J. Edgar Hoover never dreamed of doing, which was commit 4 felonies on his first day as the director of the FBI. After his boss was fired for taking part in the same criminal conspiracy that he had taken into, which was to frame Americans and concoct fraudulent warrant applications and obstruct justice and commit perjury. And he lied about it. He lied about other things too. But he's one of these guys. He's another guy. He's always had everything handed to him. He got to claim he was a cop. He was just a guy. He was just a guy, fetching coffee for his hires up. He never did any steak. You think Andrew McCabe ever did a stakeout? You think Andrew McCabe ever did a no knock, taking somebody down? No. Andrew McCabe was never even in the boat coming up on the creek behind Roger Stone's house. He was never helping the CNN crew get the camera equipment out of their van to go stake out Roger Stone when they were doing that pseudo bust. He's a fraud. All these people, they're all total frauds, and they belong in prison for what they did. Lee, you and I would be in prison. Why not them? Lee, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Lee.
Sounds like swamp hog days in Skanksville, D.C., Howie.
Every day. Lee.
Oh, my God. Hey, you going to join us in New Hampshire when the president comes?
I don't know if I'm going to be there or not. I don't know where I'm going to be that day. I would love to be there that day. You know, the problem is there's so many, there's not enough Wi-Fi equipment. We can't broadcast out of there because we have to rely on Wi-Fi. We tried to broadcast out of there in August and we couldn't get a signal. We had to go back to the station. So I don't know if I'm going to get up there or not. I'd love to be there though. You going to be there?
Yeah, got my tickets this morning.
Really? Well, I mean, you and 30,000 other people got your tickets, or 50,000. You're still gonna have to stand in line, Lee, right?
I'm gonna go down this afternoon, Lee.
That'll be a long wait. You're gonna miss the Super Bowl. You're also gonna miss the Pro Bowl. You know, I mean, I heard someone.
You're going to miss the rest of the impeachment hearing. Come on.
Well, that's the good side. That's the good side of it. But you know, someone was saying today that they're already. I guess he's going to be in New Jersey for the congressman who changed from the Democrat to Republican. What's his name? Van Drew. Down in South Jersey, and they're having a rally on Tuesday night, and this woman said that the cars are already starting to like circle the arena, like they're looking for parking space. It's Friday, and the speech is Tuesday, and they're already starting to like scout out locations for themselves, I guess, to camp out and to get parking spaces. So it's good. I mean, it's great stuff. And we have the sound cuts. We'll play the sound cuts of him at the March for Life. Last night, he was at a big Republican group. It was at the Doral in Miami. That's one of his places. I guess they had some of the state chairmen were in. I talked to one of them today. I called on something else, and he said Trump was in, like, you know, again, really fine form. And this guy that I talked to said it was kind of like a combination of an inspirational speech, like a Tony Robbins, and a stand-up comic routine, and it just kept going back and forth, you know, getting people excited to work hard for the ticket in the fall, and then just jokes, just one side splitting joke after another. And now today he's back in Washington at the March for Life. We'll get right back to this. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Keep it here, chumps. More Howie Carr after this.
This portion of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Life Change Tea, the tea that makes you go. Go to getthetea.com.
Hey, New England, we love our choices. Skiing, hiking, shopping. And we love what gets us there. A car, a truck, or an SUV. With over 2,000 vehicles in stock in one convenient location, Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC is always a smart choice. Come to New England's highest volume GM dealer. You'll find the lowest, most transparent pricing around, a friendly, no-pressure staff, and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles. And with a full-service internet department, you can call ahead and take care of most of the details before you even walk through the door. Right now, current qualified lessees can lease a 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 for around $309 per month, or a 2020 GMC Terrain for only $245 per month. Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC in Concord, New Hampshire. Real prices, huge inventory, always in stock. BanksAutos.com. GMC, we are professional grade. $1,500 cash down on lease. First payment and doc fee due at signing. Must have current qualifying lease. See dealer for complete details.
He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You watch the fight, you watch the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court. Noted with great interest the Green New Deal, and we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green
New Deal. Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer is impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial?
No.
Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the speaker sends the papers over. So everybody enjoy the holidays.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
This is Kevin from Brockton.
This is Karen from Boiling Springs, South Carolina.
This is Officer Mark calling from beautiful Stratford County, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
It is my profound honor to be the first president in history to attend the March for Life.
That was this afternoon. He was the first president to attend. The march is held in January every year in Washington, D.C., the anniversary of Roe v. Wade in 1973, the terrible Supreme Court decision taking the right to regulate abortions out of state hands, a really misguided decision on any number of levels, not the least of which is the slaughter of more than 50 million unborn children, but also taking away states' rights. And so he was there, and I'm glad he did it. And he's running. He is running for re-election. He's not a lifelong politician, but he has good instincts. He went to Christmas Eve services. Usually he goes to the Episcopal Church on the island of Palm Beach where he got married, Bethesda by the Sea. This year, run for re-election, he goes over across the lake, the intercoastal waterway, to the biggest Southern Baptist church in West Palm Beach, because there's a lot, let's face it, there's a lot more Southern Baptists than there are Episcopalians. And, going to the March for Life, he appeals to all kinds of Americans, not just Catholics, not just evangelicals, but all sorts of people, and they're voters. And I saw a poll today: 67% of evangelicals in the U.S. are happy with Donald Trump's presidency. And I always quote Tucker Carlson from an article he wrote, a print article he wrote in 2016, before he even got the job as the nighttime host. And he said that all the liberal commentators who said, well, how can the evangelicals be behind a guy who's been married all these times and, has this potty mouth and, consorts with all kinds of reprobates in New York City. And Tucker said, they're not looking for a spiritual guide. They're looking for a bodyguard. And the bodyguard was a bodyguard to protect them from Democrats, from the Hillary Clintons of the world, from these house managers. I mean, these people don't like them. They don't like us. They don't like anybody who believes in any kind of traditional American values, whether they're religious or political. I mean, the assault on the civil rights of American citizens. I'm not going to say average American citizens, because that's demeaning. If they'll do this to Carter Page or to Donald Trump, what they've done, or to Michael Flynn, what will they do to you or me? And the answer is they'll do anything they can. Anything they can. 844-500-4242. When we come back, we'll have races news as the day continues. We'll give you some updates on the House impeachment drama. I'm Howie Carr.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word. Jobs. J-O-B-S. Jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. Right. And if you did it well, your ratings
Let me ask, if I may ask one other question. Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
The word that's helping Elizabeth Warren get through her so-so campaign? So.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it? Yes or no?
So the way I see this, so understand, taxing income is not going to get you where you need to be the way taxing wealth does. So no, and I'm not here to criticize other Democrats. So my proposal is that student loan debt would be canceled up to $50,000.
So, Elizabeth, can you put this issue to bed and tell us whether or not you are, in fact, a member of a minority group?
So, middle-class families.
Why did you list yourself as an American Indian on this Texas bar application?
I grew up out in Oklahoma. So look.
Why did you check those boxes?
So.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year, because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social Social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of two poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You know, one of the things that you teach law students, when you make arguments to juries, make sure you don't insult the jury. And if there was one major blunder during the argument, it was Jerry Nadler, who got ahead of his skis a bit.
Unfortunately, so far I've seen every Republican senator has shown that they want to be part of the cover-up by voting against every document and witness proposed.
And when he said that, there was sort of a hush, a reaction from the senators. This is not the place for that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
First of all, again, we're now on day 2. Hopefully will be the end of day 2 before too long. I see nothing that has changed in the last now day and a half of their 2.5 days that we've been going here.
I don't know about you, but it became mind-numbing after a while. I got the general point you're trying to make the 4th time you told me. So they're over-trying their case.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Just last night, there was a video that surfaced of a father who approached you at an event and said, you know, it's not fair. I've saved for my daughter's college education, and now you're talking about forgiving and helping out all the people who didn't save.
By that same logic, what would we have done? Not started Social Security because we didn't start it last week for you or last month for you?
Are you saying tough luck to these people, Senator?
No.
Well, you kind
Yes,
of
you
sort of are.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Isn't the president going to be stronger and harder to beat if he survives this? The answer is yes.
Interesting
You got that one for
strategy.
police protection?
It is my profound honor to be the
Someone
first
said,
president
could,
in history to attend the
could-
March
could,
for Life.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie.
I love that Turley is talking about the Nadler coming out and insulting the senators, who were in this case known as jurors. You could go to every trial for 200 years, and you might not ever see a prosecutor or defense lawyer come out in the opening arguments and insult the jury. It's what you might call legal malpractice. You want to ingratiate yourself to the people who are going to be deciding the case, right? If you're making a sales call, you want to ingratiate yourself to the people who are going to be making the buy. Does Nadler not know this?
It's like
just because you're 5'5" and you weigh 500 pounds for your whole life doesn't you don't have to go through. Fat, hungry, and stupid is no way to go through life, to paraphrase Dean Wormer.
It's like going on The Bachelor and telling the guy that he's not your type. How do you expect to get a rose? You got to play the game, people.
844-500-4242. Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. That's the number, if you want to call us, that's our toll-free number, 844-500-4242. That's also the number of the Chump line if you'd like to leave your message and hear yourself with a recorded message on the air in about an hour from now. Press 2 for the Chump line after you dial 844-500-4242. And it's time for Grace's News.
Hello, everyone. In lieu of Grace's news today, I have decided to just play a clip of Adam Schiff talking for the next 15 minutes straight. Does that sound good to everyone? So the ratings for impeachment are in, and they're terrible. Even stuff like Kavanaugh and the Mueller hearings did a lot better ratings-wise. It makes sense.
We're talking about date rape gangs and, assaulting teenage girls. I mean, even if it's all made up, which again, it's a Democrat's scheme, it was all made up, but it's still kind of interesting, isn't it?
No, you're totally right. So I want to play through some of the sound, though. I'm not going to play Adam Schiff. Anyone who was listening to that was a joke.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We're just going to be
that was a
short.
Grace, that was a botch joke, as John Kerry would say.
Don't
even make a joke about playing a lot of Adam Schiff.
You're totally right. So I want to go through some of the sound that Taylor pulled today just to see where we're at and, what these senators are going through. Because I know we talked a little bit yesterday about Chuck Schumer, and Taylor, you mentioned it. I hadn't seen the video of him waving away an invisible person who is sitting in his chair. I just think that this is wearing on people.
Isn't that strange?
It was, if you haven't seen it, guys, it's very weird because at first I thought maybe he was looking at the lady behind the chair. He's looking at an empty chair and talking to it.
Yeah, he just points to it and says, "You get over there."
Yeah, move over.
As duplicitous, dishonest as he is, it still has to be difficult to go out there every day and talk about how great Adam Schiff is doing. I mean, must that not wear on you? I mean, to be on national TV in front of all these cameras and just spouting what you know to be utter nonsense.
But Howie, you say this all the time, and I'm probably going to butcher the actual saying, but it's hard to get up every day and fight for something that's not true or that you don't believe in. It's a lot easier for Republicans because they know they're getting screwed and they actually do think Donald Trump's doing a good job. But when you're Nancy Pelosi and you're Adam Schiff and you're all these people, getting up every day and putting on this rigmarole must be exhausting. Because you're not even saying anything.
I saw a description today somewhere of Adam Schiff, and I thought it was a really good description. The cyber age Joe McCarthy. But the difference between Adam Schiff and Joe McCarthy, I think, from everything I've read about Joe McCarthy, is Joe Kennedy, the patriarch of the Kennedy clan. And Joe McCarthy was tight with all the Kennedys, and someone asked Joe Kennedy later on, why did you guys like Joe McCarthy? And he said he was not a crab. In other words, he'd go out and he'd yell and scream and say, I have a list of 57 names and all this stuff. But afterwards, he'd just kind of sit back, put his feet up, have a drink, and laugh. Do you think Adam Schiff ever laughs?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Adam Schiff is much more of an ideologue, a Mandarin, than Joe McCarthy. He's a worse. I will put that. That would be a good poll question. Who was a worse human being, Joe McCarthy or Adam Schiff? I'm voting for Adam Schiff every day of the week.
I just find it amazing that there's nothing to this, and they're devoting so much time to it. And I couldn't figure out what it reminded me of, and then I realized when I was in school and I wouldn't do the reading. Okay, there'd be a big packet of reading, and then the teacher would ask me a question and I had to answer the question in a way that wouldn't give away that I didn't know what I was talking about. So I would start talking in complete circles and I would say things without actually.
I'm familiar with you talking in complete circles.
Yeah, right? Without actually saying anything.
All of the viewers and listeners are too.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just talking and you don't know what you're talking about. And honestly, Adam Schiff, I understand. As someone who talks in circles, I feel your pain. But I mean, this is getting out of control. And I hope that Trump's people wait till Monday because they actually have something to say. They should not be doing anything on Saturday.
Yeah, but what are their choices? I guess Trump is really angry about this, that they're going to start on Saturday. But what are you going to do? I mean, that's just the way it came out.
It's not fair. Anyway, I want to play Hakeem Jeffries, Representative Hakeem, because he seems to have an effect on people. We get a lot of people calling up. They don't like Hakeem. My mom called up. She said he sounds like a complete fool. I noticed he's on the
How is that any different than the rest of the Democrat House managers? They all sound a little deficient in the reasoning ability, don't they?
Yeah, but some people are worse than others. Let's play cut 8.
And the one mechanism that the framers of the Constitution put into place to deal with a despotic figure like Donald Trump
That's
is impeachment and possible renewal, removal. And so we're committed to making that case no matter what it takes.
No matter what it takes.
Do they subscribe to some kind of word of the day service? And the word 2 days ago was despot. So they all feel like they have to use it. Cause I think Schiff used the word despot too.
And then
It's
yesterday's
not
was
a common,
virtuoso.
it's not a well, that was the media. That was what the media was.
Oh,
the
different talking
left-wing media was buying the virtuoso and scintillating.
Howie, are you trying to say that there's a difference between the Democrats and the media? Because I think you just repeated yourself.
I think they may have different word of the day services.
Wait till Adam Schiff breaks out his Russian to English dictionary. It's going to be crazy.
You know, and then they have the French to American word of the day. And you know what that was this week?
Oh, what was that?
Toward the force.
Oh, right.
That they all said toward the force. And of course, most of us were thinking, you meant to say toward the farce, right?
Right. I also, for this impeachment stuff, I know this isn't the intro, but I'm curious to hear the full cut. I want Biden's hot take on what's going to happen when Trump is inevitably acquitted. There's no way they're all going to vote to actually, what would it be, throw him out?
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. So Biden is saying that when it doesn't happen, it's going to make him harder to beat. This is cut 10.
And I always get asked the question, well, isn't the president going to be stronger and harder to beat if he survives this? The answer is yes, probably. But the Congress has no choice. They have a constitutional responsibility. And the people who vote the way they may vote are going to have to live in history. Their children and grandchildren are going to read about them in the history books, as whether or not they're part of integrity or infamy. That's what's at stake here. That's what's going on.
I don't think this whole idea of shaming people before they've actually made a decision is helping. Because when people like Murkowski and Susan Collins start saying you're not being fair, you're being insane, then you've lost everyone. Because they are your best chance. And you guys going out there and already calling them crooks, you're not helping your case at all. And I don't know, Howie. I think Biden's losing it. And it's obvious that it is going to make...
He's lost it long since.
It's obviously going to make Trump stronger. If you just look at at the money he's raised. He's bringing in money that's insane right now because of impeachment.
Right. I tell you, though, I'm still, trying to digest the Peter Schweizer interview from a couple of days ago about all the money that the Bidens have extracted from around the world. I mean, it's Clinton-esque. The magnitude of the racket that they've been running since this Bindlestiff became vice president 10 years ago.
Great word. That's the word of the day here at the Howie Carr Show.
Bindlestiff. Look it up. It's a really good word. Even though I know it's more syllables than you usually have for your word of the day, but it's a good one.
I like it. I totally agree with you. This is just getting more ridiculous, and it's going to backfire.
How is a guy that dumb able to steal this much money? I'm flummoxed.
But when Peter Schweizer was on, and if you guys missed that interview, you should check it out at howiecarrshow.com or anywhere you get our podcasts. I was more amazed at the Bernie Sanders aspect at that, because I didn't really know media buying. I'm not that used to all of these methods of corruption they use. But the fact that somehow these random two people in Virginia got this massive media buy from Bernie Sanders. They happen to be friends with Jane Sanders, who don't knock Jane Sanders because she seems just as crafty as Bernie. And I know the Bidens are corrupt, and there's like 5 Bidens. He called them the Biden 5. But Bernie Sanders' whole
kind of
shtick...
like there's 5 crime families of the mafia in New York. This is the Biden crime family of Delaware.
But Bernie, to me, is worse because his whole shtick is, we will rage against the millionaires and billionaires. And he's just as bad as everybody else.
Well, what you should have been able to figure it out, Grace, is when Mike Murphy, the guy that managed Jeb Bush's campaign 4 years ago, the worst campaign probably in American political history.
Please clap.
$100 million down the drain. And after it was over, Mike Murphy, he didn't care. You know why? $100 million that he wasted, he got 15% of it.
Yeah.
It's great. Death, where is thy sting when you walk away with $15 million?
Oh, when Peter Schweitzer said that about the commission you get, I thought to myself, damn, I picked the wrong industry.
You picked the wrong racket is what you meant to say.
Media buying.
I'm Howie Carr.
He's the guru of graft. It's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Honest Howie's History Podcast. Hear about Joe Kennedy's potential run against Ed Markey for the U.S. Senate and learn how history repeats itself. Available now at HowieCarrShow.com. This is for my listeners who are still suffering from hair loss and thinning hair. I recently met up with the doctors at New England Center for Hair Restoration, and I was amazed at their consistent results. After hearing my story about hair loss, the doctors agreed to offer the first 40 listeners of my show an initial hair transplant procedure for only $6,000. You heard me right. New England Center for Hair Restoration is offering my listeners this exclusive opportunity to get a hair transplant procedure for the unbelievable price of $6,000. That's a savings of $4,000 for qualifying patients. If you've always wanted a hair restoration and couldn't afford it, New England Center for Hair Restoration is where you want to go. A hair transplant procedure for $6,000 for the first 40 people. This offer won't last long. For those who qualify, third-party financing is available with monthly payments as low as $119. Call 800-313-HAIR for your free consultation.
Is Biggs on the Republican team?
HAIR. Call 800-313-HAIR.
On the Republican team for what?
They
Cory Booker said it
they
best.
appointed those Republican congressmen to help out the lawyers, like Jordan and Meadows and those guys. Is he one of them?
I'm not sure. I'll check.
The former leader of the KKK. The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan. 8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. If Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, the demagogues around the world. We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP, yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? Bills that the future president here, that the senator is talking about.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
This is Deb in Danielson, Connecticut.
This is Greg in Boston, Mass.
This is Elizabeth in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who has the best chicken sandwich? Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, McDonald's, Wendy's, or KFC?
I'm voting for Chick-fil-A.
Grace, still abstaining from the vote?
I would like to do kind of a vote for all of them, if possible. I think everyone should be a winner.
No, you don't get to vote for all of them.
I think every chicken should be a winner.
Mr. Speaker, would you, Judge, would you direct the witness to answer the question?
Stop being a bindle stiff. I can vote for who.
Wendy's at 7, KFC at 5, and McDonald's at 2.
What is it? Now, what's number one? I'm sorry.
Chick-fil-A, 72%.
Okay, 72%. Okay, so it's a runaway then.
All right, guys. Grace's News is sponsored by the Nauset Beach Inn. Last week's Cheap Bastard deal was so successful, it really was, that the Nauset Beach Inn is offering Ocean View rooms for just $100 for the entire month of April. Go to nausetbeachinn.com and click on special offers. That's NAUSET beachinn.com. An ocean view at a price you can afford.
We just got a text from a retired Bendel-stiff, and he resents being compared to Joe Biden.
We also got a text from someone who is a part of Club Carr. If you want to join, clubcarr.com. He watched my makeup tutorial, and he says, hey, I'm a circus clown, and I saw Grace's makeup tutorial. From one professional to another, subtlety is a virtue. I'm offended.
Adam Schiff disagrees as well. He thinks subtle, and he does not think that brevity is the soul of wit.
The chair detects the needle. Got it. I just want to say, everyone knows that I am the resident sports fanatic at the Howie Carr Show. I know all things sports, baseball, hockey. I'm your girl. Eli Manning has retired. That's all I have to say. But Howie told me this was kind of important.
Grace wanted to do a column for the Herald about other things that happened in the midst of this impeachment fiasco that's going on. And I mean, a lot of stuff has happened. The Carter Page admission by the FBI is, I mean, that's huge news. But there are other news things too. Like I said to Grace, I mean, she doesn't like Eli Manning. He was the quarterback of the New York Jets when they won 2 Super Bowls from the Patriots. But those were 2 of the greatest football games in professional football history.
I don't have anything against Eli. I'm not his biggest fan.
Derek Jeter made the Hall of Fame this week. I mean, that's not. I mean, that was to be expected. But that's an important news story.
And he didn't even have to use a secret buzzer to make the Hall of Fame.
He'll never be the manager of the Houston Astros or the Boston Red Sox or probably the New York Mets, for that matter. 844-500-4242. We come back, we'll have Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs with us. I'm Howie Carr.
The 2020 elections have the potential to shape the next decade financially. That's especially true if you're within 10 years of retirement. Is your plan ready? Find out with a portfolio stress test from Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates. Call 800-989-9100 for your no-cost, no-obligation analysis. Kevin can help uncover any hidden fees that may be lurking in your plan. Team at Frisbee & Associates are up to date on all the latest rules and regulations, from what the Secure Act is and isn't to Social Security and Medicare. Let Kevin and the team give you peace of mind as you get near retirement. Make sure your plan is ready for whatever happens come November. It starts with a phone call to Frisbee & Associates. 800-989-9100. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday at 3:50 as he reviews the market. Call Kevin now at 800-989-9100. 800-989-9100.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame. We are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Did I say Eli Manning played for the Jets? I know who he played for. I stand corrected. He played
Very
for
fake.
I'm sorry. I don't know how I made that mistake. Sometimes Sometimes I get stuff confused, but I don't usually get Eli Manning and the Giants and the Jets mixed up. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, joining us now on the line is Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs. He's been following this entire impeachment nonsense very closely. You've seen him on TV many times, and he's here to discuss what's been going on. Congressman Biggs, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Howie, it's good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
So how much of this have you been watching? And you can be honest with us, because we're not nobody within the sound of our voices has been watching it gavel to gavel, I don't think.
Yeah, and you know what? And judging by what I saw on the floor of the Senate nobody that's sitting on the floor of the Senate is watching this thing gavel to gavel. I started off all excited to watch, and soon I realized that they were basically telling me the same thing I'd heard for months through the investigations in the House. And so it was like, well, this is boring. So I would mute it, and then I was reading the closed caption, and then it was the same story, Howie. So there's nothing new here, and it's presenting in one of the most boring fashion I've ever seen. So I'm reticent and embarrassed to say I haven't been watching it gavel to gavel. I've watched less and less each day. Let's just put it that way, less and less each day.
You and everybody else in America. I mean, why do they need 24 hours? And then Nadler comes out of the box and insults the jury, which is the senators. I mean, what is? I mean, you know these people better than me. You have to call them your colleagues. I don't know. None of the rest of us have to be polite like that.
That's a low blow, Howie. Look, here's the thing. When Nadler came out and did that, it was like seen in an old movie where the baby Ruth gets in the pool. I mean, that's really, it cleared the pool out, and that's really where Jerry Nadler did. And so they're all ticked off at Jerry Nadler. There's no recovery from that. And the bottom line is, I think these guys are delusional. You know, you had Adam Schiff mentions Russia 36 times in about like an hour and a half period in his opening statement, because he and Jerry Nadler and Eric Swalwell on the House Committee on Judiciary, maybe even Nancy Pelosi, who knows, they still believe there was Russian collusion with the Trump campaign. They still believe that.
You know, Congressman Biggs. I understand.
So they're delusional.
I understand, Congressman Biggs.
Explanation I can give you.
This is not a trial. We all understand it's not a trial, but there is a Fifth Amendment, and the Fifth Amendment says you can't be tried twice for the same crime, right? There's no such thing in American jurisprudence as double jeopardy. Yet, your colleague comes out of the box and he says, "Guess what? Trump colluded with Russia." No, he was in effect acquitted of that, was he not?
Right. That's exactly. I say they're delusional because their fondest hope was that the Mueller report would give them the cause to remove him from office. And now that's been undermined, and they can never let it go. They can never let it go. I think they were traumatized by that, and so they just can't get over that.
Now, you're not on the team of Republican congressmen who are assisting the Trump lawyers, are you?
I'm not officially on that team, no, sir.
But you've been following this case very closely, I know, because I've seen you commenting on it. What do you think what do you think the defense team is going to come out of the box with tomorrow?
Well, I think the defense team is going to be really hard on the process. They're going to comment on the process because the process was horrific. Then they're going to move on to, I think, the evidence, because I think it's critical for Americans to understand that there is absolutely no evidence for any of these allegations that the Democrats have put forward. And so once you get to the procedural infirmities, you get to the evidentiary infirmities, then you can start talking about the witnesses that were terrible. So they got infirmities there, and then ultimately the Constitution. I think they're closed strongly on the Constitution.
You don't think they're going to take 24 hours, though, do you? I mean, I think that would be a mistake. I mean, seriously. I mean, there's no case, like you say, there's no case here. There no crimes have been committed. They keep talking about the evidence. The Republicans refuse to, consider the evidence. What evidence? There was nothing happened. So how can you have any evidence if something didn't happen?
No, that's exactly right. And what I would suggest is that they can do is, and this would be appropriate, is at some point after the Democrats have made their case, and it's utterly useless, you could present for maybe 4 hours, rebut everything that they have said that's worthwhile in about 15 minutes, and then make a motion to dismiss. That's what I would do if I was trying this case in a court of law. They've presented their evidence. I would ask for a directed verdict, quite frankly, at this point, because it's terrible. Then if Failing that, then I would present a little bit of our portion, and then I would say I want a motion to dismiss because we've demonstrated that they don't have anything.
If you had to guess, would you say they're going to be witnesses or not going to be witnesses?
I would be mildly surprised if there were witnesses. I don't think there will be witnesses.
So you think the Republicans, the 53 Republicans, or at least 50 of them, are going to remain strong and say no witnesses, and maybe even be joined by a Democrat or two?
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think you might lose the three that you and I are thinking of, but I don't think that the Republicans lose four. And I do agree that you might pick up a few Democrats as well.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, what I've seen today is the Democrat senator from the freshman Democrat from your home state, Sinema, that she might even vote for no witnesses. What do you think of that?
She might. She's very bright. She's probably the best politician I've ever met in my life, and in knowing what her constituents want. And in Arizona, I think we were looking at it, quite frankly, as this has been a hoax and a sham from the beginning.
Yeah. Martha McSally showed me a lot last week when she told that CNN reporter to pound sand. I mean, that was, I didn't think she had it in her, honestly. You know, I don't follow her that closely, but that was, has her fundraising, I would assume, has picked up dramatically since that moment.
Absolutely right. And they're even selling T-shirts with that phrase on there. So she's hopefully that's going to help her get some more notoriety and funding to beat the Democrats here.
Do you actually talk to any of those House managers on the Democrat side? I mean, do you have any kind of personal relationship with them? I guess what I'm asking you is, do they really believe this? I mean, are they serious when they go out and they make these arguments hour after hour after hour? They're playing jokes from the 2016 campaign that everybody knew was a joke in 2016, let alone 4 years later. And they're portraying them as if this is like a smoking gun against the president of the United States. Are they serious, Congressman?
Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't have close personal relationships with any of the managers. But unfortunately as well, they believe this. I think they honestly believe this, and that's why I say I think there's a mania here. Trump derangement syndrome is alive and well in these folks, and there's a mania, and there's a cognitive dissonance. They can't find the reality. They refuse to accept reality. I mean, we were talking about the Mueller findings. They refuse to accept those. Utterly refuse to accept those.
Yeah, again, if this were a real trial, someone would stand up. One of Trump's lawyers would stand up and say, "Judge, the prosecutor is bringing up a charge that my client is not charged with right now, and in fact, he's been acquitted of the charge in the past." And I'm so happy that Susan Collins sent a note to Chief Justice Roberts saying, "What's going on here?" But I mean, this is it seems unfortunate that it's that there are no rules in this proceeding so far.
Well, right. I mean, the rules are and the Senate gets to set the rules. They get to set the rules, but they wanted, I think, to let the House do all the wandering it wanted to. Because it would show, I mean, there's nothing there. So they've been rehashing this. If you've been watching this at all, which I've been doing, unfortunately, it's the same thing every day, every one of them. There's not even a real variation on it. And what that means is, for the American public, it's tedious, it's boring, and it's not winning for them. And so, in a way, I think that McConnell said, we're going to give them their 24 hours so they can inflict more they can do some more self-inflicted wounds, which is what they're doing. They're engaged in self-inflicted wounds.
That's what I was going to ask you, is if there was method to McConnell's madness here, Brit's strategy to let them hang themselves.
Yeah, and I think it is, because when you thing, you realize their assertions. First of all, when the Republican side gets up there, the president's counsel is going to say everything that Adam Schiff said was based on rumor, innuendo, and hearsay. There's no direct evidence to anything he said. And it's what he wants. It's aspirational. And then you get into all of this. And I think McConnell is perfectly content to give them this amount of time that's significant. So the American public can say, well, you had your shot. And then you bring in the people that are going to turn it around. And like you, I'm with you. I don't think we should take the full 24. But I think the president's concerned because the first 8 for his counsel will be on Saturday, and nobody's going to watch on Saturday. Big news for him. Nobody's watching now. So if you get it on Monday, I think this will wrap up the Republican side. Wouldn't surprise me if they finish by Monday evening. That would not surprise me.
Oh, so you think they could be over by Monday evening? They're just altogether over?
I mean, no, because what happens is these are just the opening statements. After you do the opening statements, then you have that each side gets to go forward and ask questions. Now, wouldn't that be sweet? Wouldn't you like to be able to ask questions of Adam Schiff, right?
Oh, so the Republican. Oh, so Cruz, for instance, Cruz could ask questions of Adam Schiff. I would like to see that, and I would turn the TV back on to watch that.
Well, here's the bummer for you, Howie, is that Cruz has to write his questions.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, and then then Roberts, Mr. Excitement, gets to ask the questions. Yeah. When Susan Collins sent him the note saying, "What are the Democrats doing?" He read it as, "I'm going to admonish both sides, and I discourage you from engaging in pettifoggery." Okay, right. Yeah. Yes, I
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really going to rescue the ratings for TV. No, that's bad. Is it going to be okay? Last question, Congressman Biggs. Is this disaster going to be over by the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm going to sound ignorant here, but when is the Super Bowl?
A week from Sunday. A week from Sunday. Is it going to be over at the end of next week?
I believe it is. I believe Thursday, Friday, you're going to be real close to the end. It may spill over to a week from Saturday, this coming Saturday, but that's it. And I would say that's done. I think it would be done, pretty close to done.
I'm going to make a final prediction. The Super Bowl will have more viewers than any day that this thing goes on. This is.
Hey, Howie, can I make?
Yes.
Can I make a prediction?
Yes.
The Super Bowl will have more viewers than the cumulative viewers of the impeachment.
I think that's very likely. Now that I think about it, the first 2 days got 20 million, and the Super Bowl usually gets about 130, 140 million. Yeah, I think you're on solid ground, Congressman Andy.
Thanks, Howie.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. It's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Best Western Adams Inn in Quincy. With beautiful views of Boston, waterfront, restaurant, banquet facilities, and a great park and fly deal. Book direct by calling 617-328-1500. Mention Howie and save 10%.
Hey, New England, we love our choices. Skiing, hiking, shopping. And we love what gets us there. A car, a truck, or an SUV. With over 2,000 vehicles in stock in one convenient location, Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC is always a smart choice. Come to New England's highest volume GM dealer. You'll find the lowest, most transparent pricing around, a friendly, no-pressure staff, and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles. And with a full-service internet department, you can call ahead and take care of most of the details before you even walk through the door. Right now, current qualified lessees can lease a 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 for around $309 per month. Or a 2020 GMC Terrain for only $245 per month. Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC in Concord, New Hampshire. Real prices, huge inventory, always in stock. BanksAutos.com. GMC, we are professional grade. $1,500 cash down on lease. First payment and doc fee due at signing. Must have current qualifying lease. See dealer for complete details.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word? Poop. Poop? Oh, That's a goody two-shoes
No, it's
favorite
not.
curse word
No,
if I
it's-
ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poof? Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble with some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
This is Paul in North Andover, Mass.
This is Luana in Lexington, Massachusetts.
This is Lauren in Augusta, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
A couple of texters said you should have asked Representative Biggs about Schiff lying. I mean, that just kind of goes without saying, though, at this point, doesn't it? He got busted again with that Carter Page admission by the Federal Bureau of Investigation of the Department of Justice that they just totally concocted these fraudulent warrants against him to surveil him. When Devin Nunes started making these accusations last year or 2 years ago, Schiff was attacking Nunes and saying, well, the FBI underwent a rigorous process of verifying everything. And now the FBI and the Justice Department are admitting they just made it all up. They concocted everything. 844-500-4242. We don't have too much time here, so I just want to do this for a laugh. I found this today. Howard K. Smith. He used to be a CBS, and then he was an ABC news guy. And he's been dead for a long time. He was with Edward R. Murrow during World War II, but he was a big global cooling guy. So Taylor, I told Taylor where to find this today. It's pretty scary stuff, isn't it, Taylor?
It's hilarious.
I
mean, predicting the weather based on the migration patterns of armadillos.
Listen to this.
You can't get more accurate than that.
Listen to this. This is from 43 years ago. Howard K. Smith on ABC News.
Voluntary
periods like ours last only 10,000 years, but ours has already lasted 12,000. So if the rhythm is right, we are over ready for a return of the ice. Experts like Reeve Bryson, the head of the biggest meteorological department in the world in Wisconsin, believe that since 1945, that has been in progress. We're returning to an ice age. They base this on ever cooler temperature readings in the Great Plains on land and the North Atlantic at sea, and on the headlong retreat of the heat-loving armadillo from Nebraska to the Southwest and to Mexico, and on many more sophisticated signs.
I saw an armadillo running south last night. I was heading north on 95 and I saw an armadillo. I mean, there must be an ice age coming.
But Howie, have you seen any iguanas falling out of the trees yet?
Not yet. But I saw a manatee wearing gloves today on the intercoastal waterway. You got time for one more? Glaciers? You got time for the glaciers cut from Howard K. Smith?
Don't pack your things and investigate real estate prices in the tropics yet. But there's a theory advanced by climatologists that the last 2 years of battering by winter means that an ice age is returning to the Earth with glaciers down to the Mason-Dixon line and freezing temperatures south of that.
Glaciers down to the Mason-Dixon line. I wonder where Howard K. Smith is buried. Is he buried north of the Mason-Dixon line? You can't visit his grave then because there's 100 feet glacier over his grave, I guess, right? I'm Howie Carr.
We here at Matthews Brothers understand that we're not the biggest window manufacturer in the country, and we don't even mind when people say they've never heard of us. After all, we're just a humble but lovable 166-year-old window manufacturer nestled on the coast of Maine who's been producing wicked awesome windows and doors since Otto Sverdrup, noted explorer and brother-in-law of paperclip inventor Johann Wahler, was just a twinkle in the eye of Ulrich Sverdrup, Ulrich being the father. But also, it's not like we're some startup company that you'd expect no one to know. After all, we've been one of the top 100 window manufacturers in the United States for the past 8 years, even though we just service 7 states and most of our geography is either under the Atlantic Ocean or in Canada. So when you consider that for the past 10 years, we've been growing at double-digit rates in a market that's been growing at about 3%, it's primarily due to the fact that once builders try our products backed up by our wow customer service on one of their projects, they tend to come back again and again and again. And if you want to learn more about our wicked awesome Maine-made products, you can, but only at better lumber yards and window professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with 1 T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And VB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy. And I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE. 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If Mr. Gooner was a person, what college would she attend?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Is Mr. Gooner a conservative or a Democrat?
Mr. Gooner is a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
If you could have dinner with any president, dead or alive, who would it be?
Calvin Coolidge. He was from Massachusetts, and I liked his attitude towards public sector unions. And he said, the business of America is business. He's my guy.
Other than yourself, which columnist do you respect the most?
The late George Fraser, he was a columnist for the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Most people have forgotten him now. Jimmy Cannon was pretty good. He was so good that Mike Barnacle used to steal stuff from him all the time. Breslin was good in his early days, not so good later on, but when he was working for the Herald Tribune back when I was a kid in New York, he was damn good.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation.
If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals. And
Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl. When the Second Amendment was written in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, they did not have in mind that people could purchase guns indiscriminately. The president is acting like Pontius Pilate.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our
schools.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language. No question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You know, one of the things that you teach law students, when you make arguments to juries, make sure you don't insult the jury. If there was one major blunder during the argument, it was Jerry Nadler, who got ahead of his skis a bit.
Unfortunately, so far I've seen every Republican senator has shown that they want to be part of the cover-up by voting against every document and witness proposed.
And when he said that, there was sort of a hush, a reaction from the senators. This is not the place for that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
First of all, again, we're now on day 2. Hopefully we'll be the end of day 2 before too long. I see nothing that has changed in the last now day and a half of their 2.5 days that we've been going here.
I don't know about you, but it became mind-numbing after a while. I got the general point you're trying to make the 4th time you told me. So they're over-trying their case.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Just last night, there was a video that surfaced of a father who approached you at an event and said, you know, it's not fair. I've saved for my daughter's college education, and now you're talking about forgiving and helping out all the people who didn't save.
By that same logic, what would we have done? Not started Social Security because we didn't start it last week for you or last month for you?
Are you saying tough luck to these people, Senator?
No.
Well, you kind of sort of are.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Isn't the president going to be stronger and harder to beat if he survives this? The answer is yes.
Interesting strategy.
It is my profound honor to be the first president in history to attend the March for Life.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. You heard Jonathan Turley say Nadler made a blunder. Nadler is a blunder. We used to have a teacher at Deerfield. We called him Blunder. And one time he brought his girlfriend. It's shockingly enough, he had a girlfriend. He brought her in and he said, we overheard him one day say, you know, the boys call me Thunder.
Oh, that's so sad.
I still remember it all these years later. No, we don't call you Thunder. We call you Blunder. He was the original Jerry Nadler. All right. Time now for the Chump line.
I heard CNN had an emergency meeting today. The subject was, how can we somehow tie the coronavirus to Donald Trump?
Just say it. Just say it. It's like, Joe Lockhart the other day, just making up a conversation between 2 Republican senators. It got retweeted 5,000 times. 9 minutes later, he was called out on it by the Babylon Bee, among others.
He said it was satire. He's like, everyone calm down. I was being funny.
Yeah, and the retraction was retweeted less than 500 times as opposed to the original lie 5,000 times. But the Babylon Bee had the best response. Hey, Joe, leave the satire to us and we'll let CNN have the fake news.
Oh, cut Nadler some slack. Guy's been living in a sewer since Batman 2. Lucky enough he doesn't spew toxic gas all over that chamber.
The Penguin. the Penguin. Burgess Meredith is somewhere is saying, don't compare me to Blunder. The Chump Line is brought to you every weekday at this time by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, shaking our collective heads over the blue checkmarked whiner who called police on a Target store manager in Swansea for refusing to sell him an electric toothbrush for 1 cent. In his defense, the blue-checked whiner has not been to the dentist in 3 years.
Howie, Governor LePage calling. I think your Patreon sounds great, but what's up with the name Club Carr? Shouldn't it be Car-a-Lago?
Could go either way, but we thought Club Carr worked better. You know, it's kind of our tribute to Mr. Amtrak himself, Creepy Joe Biden.
Hey, Joe, this is Hootie the Barn Owl. Listen, I just flew down to Florida with my 2 kids. Just leave us alone. I don't want to be subpoenaed, so leave me alone and tell your kid to get off the crack pipe, okay? Hoo, hoo.
You know, if you're going to be Hunter Biden, you're making $50,000 a month from Burisma. You got the $1 billion investment, quote unquote, from the Chinese government. Maybe you were shaking down Romania. I mean, don't you have enough money so that you can have a handler who can at least, if not drive you around, can at least check the rented car before you turn it in to make sure you didn't leave the hash pipe in there and your brother's IDs?
Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer Nadler. That is what I truly like to be. 'Cause if I were an Oscar Mayer Nadler, no one would be in love with me.
You know, I still eat an occasional hot dog, maybe like once or twice a year. But the thought of being hungry at midnight and then throwing 3 or 4 hot dogs into a boiling pot of water and then scarfing them down before I go to bed, it's just a bad thought. If I were doing something like that, I would never tell anybody. But Nadler did. He felt compelled to let all of his constituents and everybody else in the world know that when he gets hungry at night, he has 3 hot dogs at midnight.
You remember, if I had been in the Senate for this impeachment trial, I would have been driven to drink. Good times.
I guess Senator Rick Scott from Florida was there last night. Well, they all have to be there. And so some guy broke in and just opened the door and started screaming, and he was thrown out. And I guess when they broke for the next recess, Rick Scott, the senator from Florida, said, maybe I'm going to do that to try to get out of this thing. I'm going to start yelling. Will they throw me out? Will I be excused from having to attend? I'm sure he wasn't the only one that was thinking that on either side of the aisle.
I heard a new lawyer joke on CNN. They said, Adam Schiff is an excellent lawyer.
Now that's funny. That's funny. Nobody who's ever been in a courtroom for more than 10 seconds thinks Adam Schiff is a good lawyer.
Our special tonight is filet of bat with an appetizer of snake stew. What possibly could go wrong?
It's a communist country, China. It's not like they don't have the options that we have here in a capitalist country. Just go down to Caracas. I don't think that the Michelin Guide circulates too much in Caracas anymore.
Howie, I'm a little confused. I've been listening to the show for 20 years, and now you're talking about certain sandwiches not being good. I've never known you to say that about any kind of food.
It's just if I have a choice between a McChicken and a Chick-fil-A, that's what we're debating here today with our poll question. It's not that I would eschew a McChicken if there was nothing else around, especially if I was in what's the town in the city in China where this epidemic has started, Yakchun or whatever it is, I would definitely take a McChicken over the snake du jour.
Howie, is the McChicken what you have in mind when we're doing our poll question?
What do you mean?
They have like a much better chicken sandwich at McDonald's than the McChicken. They have an actual like chicken breast sandwich.
Oh, they do. Okay, I thought it was all the same. I'm more. I don't think I've ever had a chicken sandwich at McDonald's. I've just had the McChickens, mainly because when my kids were younger and they would order McChickens, and as hungry as they were, there would always be a few left over. So you're saying they've stepped it up a little bit.
Yeah, there's like a $6 buttermilk chicken crispy sandwich or something like that. I haven't had
$6?
I don't know what it is. I haven't had one in a long time, but yeah.
You know what, Taylor? I used to go with Big Macs, but then they went to the 99-cent double cheeseburger, and I know it's not 99 cents anymore, but I would never get anything at McDonald's other than a double cheeseburger now.
Brandon says the price for that one sandwich is $4.39
for the chicken fillet, buttermilk, whatever it is.
Yeah,
$4.39.
But
too much.
You could get 4 McChickens for that price.
How much is a Chick-fil-A? How much is a Chick-fil-A sandwich?
I think $4.59, according to our crack research team back here.
Okay. The last time I was there, I gave Grace the credit card, and she bought some at the one in Hyannis. That's why I don't know.
I keep looking at Nadler like I've seen him somewhere before all this. And, is he Mayor McCheese from the McDonald's characters? Because he sure does look like him.
I thought when you say you've seen him before, I thought you were going to say he was hovering above Fifth Avenue on Thanksgiving Day. His middle name is Macy's.
The chickens are in an uproar. Feathers are going to fly. This poll question means that they will have to die. Someone call in PETA. Someone save the hens. Don't count on Howard to come to their defense.
No, I am not someone who believes that chickens are sentient beings. As someone who, I've told you before, I used to raise chickens. I had over the years I had Rhode Island Reds usually, and God, they were dumb. Even by the standards of the animal kingdom.
That was your last Chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump line today. The Chump line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2, the Chump line, leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. The Chump line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, shaking our heads over the blue-checked whiner who called police on a Target store manager for refusing to sell him an electric toothbrush for 1 cent. In his defense, the blue-checked whiner has not been to the dentist in 3 years.
Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer Nadler. That is what I truly like to be. 'Cause if I were an Oscar Mayer Nadler, no one would be in love with me.
I think that's a Big 10-4. No one is in love with Jerry Nadler, except maybe the owner of the sub shop in his neighborhood. I'm Howie Carr.
Don't touch that dial. Howie Carr will be back after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Howie Carr Show podcast. Did you miss any hours of our show? Go to Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and download any episode for free.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papa George, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Did you miss Howie's opening monologue today? Didn't catch that interview you were looking forward to? Well, tell me you didn't miss the Chump line. Even if you did, not to worry. Howie's got your back. Subscribe to the Howie Carr Show podcast today, and you'll get New England's talk radio king on demand. That means you listen to Howie when it's convenient for you. Subscribe to the Howie Carr Show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to rate and review. The captain thanks you.
This is the Howie Carr Show live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House. 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969 on WHDH News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater. The number again, 742-0850. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now, as far as your belief is that while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the Party House where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour, you think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not, here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
This is Lynn in sunny Las Vegas.
This is Dan from the moonbat capital of Jamaica Plain.
This is Gigi in Leominster, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
You know, the word is that the virus, this coronavirus in China, is being spread by infected snake meat and infected bat meat. So Officer Mark says, Howie, when does PETA introduce the all-new vegan Impossible Steak Burger and the Impossible Bat Burger? I'm sure it's only a matter of time, Officer Mark. The Impossible Snake Burger. It gives new meaning to the word poisonous snake. Huh? Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no obligations investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who has the best chicken sandwich? Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, McDonald's, Wendy's, or KFC?
I'm still voting for Chick-fil-A.
Grace, still nonpartisan here?
I think she stepped out. She's finishing her Herald column.
Chick-fil-A is number one at 70%, followed by Popeyes at 15%. Wendy's has crept up to 8%. KFC's at 5%. You'd figure that, the chain that's been doing chicken for the longest would be way up there. They're not.
Yeah, things fall apart very quickly in the fast food industry. Just look at Subway,
Oh, yeah. I agree.
That's the way it goes. I don't mind.
It doesn't help when you have a
KFC.
pedophile for a spokesperson either. So.
Right. But I don't think KFC is bad, but it's kind of greasy, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't that greasy when I was a kid. I don't remember it.
All right. 844-500-4242. We haven't played the sound of Elizabeth Warren with this father in, I think, Iowa. And he's asking her about this proposal to do away with all student loan debt. It's trillions of dollars. She's going to forgive it with an executive order on her first day as president of the United States. And he says, hey, I work 2 jobs. My daughter's just getting out of college. She has no debt. I have no debt, but I've been working my ass off. So are you telling me I'm a chump? And she basically says, yeah, you are a chump. I mean, that's what she says. And then she tries to shake his hand and he just walks away from her in disgust. And again, I wish the audio was better, but it's not that great. So anyway, she was on CBS today, and CBS has become kind of schizophrenic. They have Catherine Herridge from Fox, and she does good reporting on the Russian collusion hoax and the deep state. But on the other hand, you have people like Nora O'Donnell, who's just a complete anchor cupcake airhead, being paid huge amounts of money to get even less ratings than Jeff Glor or her predecessor. But so today, somebody was on their morning news show, and there was a random act of journalism. The host asked Warren to respond to the video of this guy asking her a legitimate question. Why are you going to forgive the people who are irresponsible, but you're not going to give me a break because I paid my kids tuition and fees for going to college? Here it is.
Just last night, there was a video that surfaced. A lot of people are talking about it today. It's of a father who approached you at an event and said, it's not fair. I've saved for my daughter's college education, and now you're talking about forgiving and helping out all the people who didn't save. For Americans who are in that father's position, who felt they did the right thing, and you're bailing out those who didn't, what's your response?
Look, we build a future going forward by making it better. By that same logic, what would we have done? Not started Social Security because we didn't start it last week for you or last month for you? Think of it this way. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a public school teacher. My family had no money.
Are you saying tough luck to these people, Senator?
No. What I'm saying is there was a $50 a semester option for me. I was able to go to college.
She's lying again. She had a full scholarship to George Washington University, and she dropped out. And then that's when she went to the public school that was $50 a semester. She's lying again. I'm Howie Carr. It's been more than 2 years now since I had the sleeve procedure at Newton Wellesley Hospital's weight loss center. I've kept the 100 pounds off, and I'm so happy. I feel better and I look better. I just cleaned out my clothes closet, getting rid of all those XLs and even double XLs I know I'll never fit into again. Thank goodness. If you're thinking about finally losing all that extra weight, now is the time. Call Newton Wellesley Hospital's Weight Loss Center at 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. I talked to so many people who've had the procedure, and not one of them has ever said to me, Howie, I wish I'd waited a little longer to lose all this weight. Don't procrastinate any longer. Make 2019 the year you get your health back. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. Don't procrastinate any longer. Whatever your age, whatever your gender, do it. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called, then in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
I'm the Vice President of the United States.
Love him or hate him, Joe Biden's here for the long haul, but we can't get enough of his gaffes. Here's the best of Uncle Joe speaking before he thinks.
We choose truth over facts.
When the stock market crashed, Franklin Roosevelt got on television.
Make sure you have the record player on at night. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Okay, look, all right, look, well, you can frack with me later, okay?
The teachers are, and I'm married to a teacher. My deceased wife is a teacher. And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I can tell you, and I've known 8 presidents, 3 of the minimum.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me.
Had over 40 kids shot at Kent State on a beautiful lawn. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it?
I said something that was not meant the way I said.
I mean, what is it that I said wrong?
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
Live from the Matthews Brothers
where's
Studios.
my text? 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show, and it's that time of the week. It's Friday night, the 3rd hour of the show, And somebody mentions that the angry dad's quote to Warren was even better. He said, "I saved and my neighbor went on fun trips, and you're going to pay for his kids." And she had no response. Yeah, she had no response to that. She's not very good on her feet, fast on her feet.
You know what she does a lot? She goes, "Sure, sure." When someone's arguing with her, she goes, "Sure." Like she really understands where you're coming from, even though you're wrong.
I'm glad she's tanking in the polls. I can't wait to be rid of her. It's as bad as Bernie is. She's worse, I think. At least Bernie believes the insanity that he's preaching. She's just a panderer. All right, but it is that time of the week, and that means it's time for Police Blotter Facts Friday.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action.
And the answer to all the people that are on the text line, yes, you are a chump. I'm a chump. I paid for my kids' college educations. I paid for my own education. I'm a double chump.
You're a sucker.
I am.
You're a bindle stiff.
$50 per tuition. Come on. She had a full scholarship to George Washington and she dropped out. It cost her more than $50 to get from Oklahoma to DC every semester. Ugh, what a fraud she is. Anyway, it's time for Police Blotter Facts Friday. You know how it works. All week long, we ask you to send us your funny stories from your local from your local daily or weekly newspaper. Some papers have a column from the police department. They call it the police blotter. Others call it the police log, or it could just be a standalone police story from anywhere. Send the stories to grace@howiecarrshow.com, grace@howiecarrshow.com. And at this time, each Friday, I should say, we read the best entries of the week, and the two best entries, in our opinion, our humble opinion, get a nice prize. What do they get this week, Grace?
They will get a copy of Kennedy Babylon 2. We're in Palm Beach, and it only feels right.
Yes. Have you been by the Brazilian court to see where David Kennedy died of a drug overdose after Rose threw him out of the house for stealing her drugs off the nightstand?
You know what, Howie? When we drive by places and you point them out to me, that's as much as I need.
Grace, how is the Rod Stewart crime scene? Still active?
Not still active. I definitely talked to some witnesses and some potential sources.
Did you take a selfie there last night?
No, I did not take any. Actually, yeah, I think I had one of their signature drinks, and I did take a picture.
But you didn't take a picture of the
she was
actual crime scene.
But she was doing her best to get back in the moment with one of the drinks that they were having.
Yes.
It was I heard it was a triple gin buck. Hold the buck.
I'm like a method actor, but I'm a method detective. All right, guys. So these are the runners-up. They do not win a prize. Man breaks into neighbor's home and attacks them with a machete as revenge for breaking wind in his face.
Was this Eric Swalwell's home that was broken into by the guy with the machete?
No.
Did Congressman Swalwell break wind again in someone's face?
A 37-year-old Indonesian man has been arrested for attacking his neighbor with a machete and sickle after the man repeatedly farted in his face as a joke. Apparently, he would do it. He did it twice because he thought it was so funny. Cops say the construction worker broke wind in his face twice last week because he found it funny. The guy's name is A.S.
A.S.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
His last name Face?
He waited several days before launching his attack. So this was thought out. This is
That's why? You know why? Because they have a 7-day waiting period for machetes in Indonesia.
Oh, before breaking into his neighbor's home.
Common sense machete law. Legislation.
And it's a little extreme. I mean, maybe just like returning a fart into his lunchbox or something, or peeing in his water bottle. The machete, that's a little too much.
Yes, I agree. Naked man arrested after trying to board school bus with kids inside.
Beware, beware of the naked man.
This is out of Arkansas.
Hunter Biden is back for the paternity lawsuit trial that he got on the bus. Was he looking for his crack pipe?
We do not have this man's name, so we do not know if it was Hunter Biden. The man had crossed a nearby highway and tried to get into a school bus with 2 adults and 6 children inside. He was naked. He was then taken to a hospital for evaluation. Next up.
Was he related to Bill Clinton?
That's what I thought you were going to go with first. When I think Arkansas.
Yeah, but now you think, don't you think Hunter Biden? I mean, Hunter Biden is in more stories that are datelined out of Arkansas.
Yeah, but Hunter Biden,
Bill Clinton is now.
Hunter Biden I don't want to say he's like you, Howie, but just in the sense that he has.
Please don't. I would really be offended if you said I was like Hunter Biden.
No, just in the sense that he has connections to all different places. He just married a woman from South Africa. He has a home in the Hollywood Hills, Arkansas. He
runs shakedowns in Ukraine, China, Romania.
He's a well-traveled board member.
Have we heard from the naked man's mother in Arkansas?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
Passenger at Chicago airport steals marijuana from cannabis amnesty box.
Cannabis amnesty box? That sounds like a joke from Saturday Night Live.
The boxes, which were installed.
Where is the cocaine amnesty box and the fentanyl amnesty box?
Is that another word for the lost and found box?
Cannabis amnesty boxes have been placed at Chicago airports,
kidding.
So travelers have the opportunity to ensure compliance with federal law, as well as the local laws at their destination.
Why didn't I think of this racket? You know how much money I could be making off of amnesty boxes?
The boxes, which were installed only weeks ago.
You could do better than selling Whizinators on the internet, Taylor.
Yeah, I'm gonna start going to corporate centers and putting in amnesty boxes and doing weekly drops and collecting my free drugs that people have given me.
Upon reviewing,
how about just for shoplifting outside of stores too? That's another thing. Amnesty box. Leave the stuff you shoplifted in this box outside the department store or the supermarket.
Give me the stuff you didn't mean to steal.
Upon reviewing the surveillance footage, police saw a man believed to be an incoming passenger reaching inside and absconding with the marijuana.
Well, I can't imagine something like this. How many minutes had the cannabis amnesty box been up before the first theft occurred?
Well, it had been up for a couple of weeks, but they noticed it during a check around 8 p.m. So they had to go back to the footage.
See, if they really wanted to make their money, Grace, they should set up like one of those toy cranes where you drop in a quarter and you try to pick up a bag of weed from the amnesty box.
I used to love those, Taylor, but they're so hard to grab when you try to get the teddy bear in the corner.
Yeah, but the more weed that is donated, the better your chances are.
You're right. You're totally right. Florida man, this story coincides very nicely with our poll question. Florida man punches hungry honker in Chick-fil-A drive-thru.
What? Read that again.
Florida man punches hungry honker.
What is a hungry honker? Okay, someone who was
beep,
someone
beep.
was honking behind him.
Right. This is out of North Naples, Florida. So Howie, please tell us the proximity.
It's on the other side of the state.
Wonderful.
We don't have to worry
Always
have to worry about any violence tonight on the way back to the island.
A driver who honked at another driver in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru did not expect to get served a knuckle sandwich.
Oh, I like that. That's a good lead.
Now, is it?
It is.
A 62-year-old North Naples man, Thomas Moran Anderson, faces a felony charge for punching the person honking at him in line. The fast food fight happened on January 18th at a Chick-fil-A. The victim beeped at Anderson because he was blocking his path with his Ford Edge. They got a lot of details.
I mean, he was in line? Is that what that is?
Anderson responded by flipping him off. Wanting to leave the line to eat his food, the victim honked again. The victim. This time, Anderson got out of his SUV, cursing at the hungry honker.
He wasn't the victim. He was the perpetrator. He was the one who was honking. The person who honks is the perpetrator in this kind of incident.
I don't think I'm a honker. I am.
Most people would describe you, Grace, as a honky.
I like to honk, and it bothers a lot of people. A lot of people say, please don't do that. But I use the honk or the beep as a way to direct people on what they should be doing. A quick little honk gets people moving.
It's the length of the honk that determines the nature of the person inside.
I mean, cause and effect is telling me that the honk in this case, Taylor, might have been one of those.
Yeah, just
609 says, does Hunter Biden have a cannabis amnesty box in his rented car?
Crack pipe disposal box.
So this is a story that doesn't really involve the police, but it did come up a lot. And I got it sent to me quite a bit. Man registers beer as emotional support animal.
Where was this?
Good man.
Where do you think? Think hipster. Think
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, okay.
So it was a Pabst Blue Ribbon.
That's what I assumed. He registered his beer as an emotional support animal on the USA Service Dog Registration website. Ale Street News was the first to report
Ale Street News
that Floyd Hayes was initially successful in obtaining a registration letter via email. I have
a question. I have a question, Grace.
Yes.
Once he drinks that beer, is that classified as animal cruelty or bestiality?
Oh, that's a good question, Taylor. He says, I travel from upstate to Brooklyn a lot. And on the bus, they say it's a federal crime to smoke or have an alcoholic beverage unless by prior written contest. And I always wondered where
maybe they need a beer amnesty box next to the cannabis amnesty box on the bus.
He said, and I always wondered where you get that consent. Not that I'm an alcoholic. Hayes told Ale Street the beer he was thinking of when he signed up was a 16-ounce lightly hopped session IPA served in a regular bar pint glass.
Oh, he's definitely from Brooklyn, isn't he?
His support dog.
He's a hipster.
His support dog was entered as simply beer with, quote, no training needed, end quote. Hayes put down that it helps him manage his social anxiety disorder.
But he's not an alcoholic.
I know, whenever you have to end something with, but not that I'm an alcoholic. I mean, I think a lot of people are going, thou dost protest too
Reader
much.
beware. Yeah.
Police capture alleged Texas lingerie thief. A Texas lingerie enthusiast already facing a felony robbery charge was arrested yesterday and charged with swiping 21, undies, lubricant, a pair of heels, and more, something I can't read on air, from an adult boutique in Houston. Jaquan Thompson.
Jaquan
boosted the items during
Is he French?
You know what? Who am I to say? Maybe he is. From a grab and run incident at the Katz Boutique, KATZ, which advertises itself as your premier destination for fashion, fantasy, and fun. Thompson allegedly took the lingerie and other items from the checkout counter and bolted from the store with the hot merchandise, which police valued at $1,000. He's also there's a lot of stuff on here he stole that I'm not quite sure what it is, so I'm not going.
Go ahead, read a few things.
Someone says the beer amnesty box is called the men's room.
Woman charged with groping Subway employee. Yeah, Lynn Karen of Derry was charged with 2 counts of sexual assault by sexual contact.
This is in New Hampshire? When you say Subway, I was thinking mass transit. Oh, you're talking about the sandwich shop.
No, I was thinking the sandwich shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is Nashua Road in Londonderry. So it's either Derry,
should I
Ireland.
Say, did she order a foot long?
Oh, God.
She grabbed his meat.
Oh, boys. Enough.
Let go of my salami.
You guys are acting like bindle stiffs. He claimed that at about 6:30, Karen reached behind with her back to his front and grabbed him outside his clothing and inside his pants while he was at the front counter. He told police Karen then texted him saying, "It's on." No joke.
What? So she's a girlfriend.
Wait, she said no joke. Is she related to Joe Biden?
No joke.
Now it's now the Biden 6 thing. Taylor. It's not the Biden 5 anymore. She's number
joke.
6.
Not
a joke.
Spicy Italian with meatballs. Not a joke.
According to the arrest warrant, the 30-year-old man employed at the subway went to the police station the day after the alleged assault.
So is this his former girlfriend or what?
No, I don't think so.
Why did she texted him that she was going to...
With his girlfriend at 2 a.m.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby, yeah. A wife tased her husband when she found him at a nightclub with his mistress. Irlanda Parra allegedly attacked her spouse after finding him and his girlfriend at Hefe's restaurant and nightclub in Wichita Falls,
that's a
Texas.
swinging hot spot.
Is it?
Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me.
The unnamed victim claimed to have been confronted by his wife in the club's parking lot before she zapped him with its
Well, we have the wife's name. What does it matter? If we they might as well name the husband if they listed his wife.
I'm a detective for one thing and one thing only, and that's what happened at the Breakers the other night. I'm not involved in this. If they want to keep this man's identity hidden, that's up to them.
Do you know what the woman said at the subway when she was arrested?
Uh-oh.
She said the charges were baloney.
Oh.
Ha, 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 ha.
All right, guys, when we get back, I have two amazing runners up. But first, I have to tell everyone that this segment, Police Blotter Facts Friday, is brought to you by Piantosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. Don't turn the dial. We have awesome winners.
What was the name of the emotional support beer? Paul, the UPS guy, wants to know.
The name was Bud.
Oh, Bud. That's a good one.
Bud. Okay, I was going to say Hoppy.
Hoppy.
I'm Howie Carr.
Keep it here. The captain will be back after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Nauset Beach Inn on Cape Cod. All April, get an ocean view room for just $100 a night. These will go fast, so book now at nausetbeachinn.com.
Hey, New England, we love our choices. Skiing, hiking, shopping. And we love what gets us there. A car, a truck, or an SUV. With over 2,000 vehicles in stock in one convenient location, Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC is always a smart choice. Come to New England's highest volume GM dealer. You'll find the lowest, most transparent pricing around, a friendly, no-pressure staff, and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles. And with a full-service internet department, you can call ahead and take care of most of the details before you even walk through the door. Right now, current qualified lessees can lease a 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 for around $309 per month, or a 2020 GMC Terrain for only $245 per month. Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC in Concord, New Hampshire. Real prices, huge inventory, always in stock. BanksAutos.com. GMC, we are professional grade. $1,500 cash down on lease. First payment and doc fee due at signing. Must have current qualifying lease. See dealer for complete details.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. You know, as a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be all to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
This is Jay in Hingham, Massachusetts.
This is Gloria from Haverhill, Mass.
Hi, this is Joe from Howie in the Hills, Florida, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
The other night, we ate dinner at the Honor Bar in Palm Beach. Grace and I and the mailroom manager. And the Honor Bar used to be O-Bar, where the Kennedys hung out and picked up women and attacked them. Grace, do you know how much business we could have gotten with an amnesty box outside the old O-Bar?
I didn't come up with them, Howie. It's not my fault you're late to the amnesty game. Oh, no!
You got the winner.
Indian man killed by his own rooster on the way to a cockfight. And also, Massachusetts serial pooper arrested after police catch her defecating in parking lot.
That was in Natick, that one.
Yeah, we might have to read that one a little later on.
Yeah, we'll get back to that one. I'm Howie Carr. This is for my listeners who are still suffering from hair loss and thinning hair. I recently met up with the doctors at New England Center for Hair Restoration, and I was amazed at their consistent results. After hearing my story about hair loss, the doctors agreed to offer the first 40 listeners of my show an initial hair transplant procedure for only $6,000. You heard me right. New England Center for Hair Restoration is offering my listeners this exclusive opportunity to get a hair transplant procedure for the unbelievable price of $6,000. That's a savings of $4,000 for qualifying patients. If you've always wanted a hair restoration and couldn't afford it, New England Center for Hair Restoration is where you want to go. A hair transplant procedure for $6,000 for the first 40 people. This offer won't last long. For those who qualify, third-party financing is available with monthly payments as low as $119. Call 800-313-HAIR for your free consultation. That's 800-313-HAIR. Call 800-313-HAIR.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way. Enough with the fake news. You need to listen to Honest Howie's History. In my new weekly podcast, I take you behind the scenes of the most talked about news events and compare them to the past. We're going to go back 100 years here, but let's start with the latest politician in the Kennedy family's crosshairs. Whatever happened to the Massachusetts State Police? You know, Hermann Goering, the Nazi. Nobody thought that there was any conspiracy there. Of course he was going to kill himself. Honest Howie's History. Listen today at HowieCarrShow.com.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, you know, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Can you remember any time in your life when you were starstruck?
One time I saw Peter Vesey, the NBA columnist for the New York Post. He was in the Herald sports department. I really liked his column, so I went up and introduced myself to him. Then one time there was Cousin Brucey from WABC, and I used to listen to him driving back and forth between Chapel Hill and Deerfield when I was in college. Everybody on the East Coast listened to him. I couldn't believe that I was in the presence of Cousin Brucey.
Do you ever play bridge anymore?
No, I haven't played bridge in a very long time. Nobody I know plays bridge. I think my bridge days are behind me.
Do you think you'd still be good at it?
I'm not a great bidder, but I know how to count cards. That to me is the essence of playing a hand of bridge, is to be able to count cards.
What is a rhino?
Rhino is a Republican in name only. Think Paul Ryan. Oh, think Mitt Romney. Think Jeff Flake.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. My wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year, because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who do you consider the biggest rhino in the Republican Party?
Probably is Paul Ryan. I wish a Republican were still the speaker, but Paul Ryan was scarcely a Republican. And there was a reason he was Mitt Romney's running mate, because we had a rhino ticket in 2012.
Where did the expression, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" come from?
That comes from the State House. There used to be a state rep who sometimes would talk about atrocities that were happening in crime. And he would get up there and he would say, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" And I just picked it up and it became a trademark.
Where's your favorite place to go out to eat in Palm Beach?
My favorite place to go in Palm Beach is probably the Honor Bar, which used to be O Bar, and you can get a really great hamburger there, and they have a great coffee machine that brews each cup of coffee individually.
Have you guys heard about my new podcast, Conversations with Grace? You know I love to chat, and now I'm chatting with some heavy hitters. I have already talked to the president's right-hand man, Cory Lewandowski.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You know, one of the things that you teach law students, when you make arguments to juries, make sure you don't insult the jury. And if there was one major blunder during the argument, it was Jerry Nadler, who got ahead of his skis a bit.
Unfortunately, so far I've seen every Republican senator has shown that they want to be part of the cover-up by voting against every document and witness proposed.
And when he said that, there was sort of a hush. A reaction from the senators. This is not the place for that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
First of all, again, we're now on day 2. Hopefully will be the end of day 2 before too long. I see nothing that has changed in the last now day and a half of their 2.5 days that we've been going here.
I don't know about you, but it became mind-numbing after a while. I got the general point you're trying to make the 4th time you told me. So they're over-trying their case.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Just last night, there was a video that surfaced of a father who approached you at an event and said, you know, it's not fair. I've saved for my daughter's college education, and now you're talking about forgiving and helping out all the people who didn't save.
By that same logic, what would we have done? Not started Social Security because we didn't start it last week for you or last month for you?
Are you saying tough luck to these people, Senator?
No.
Well, you kind of sort of are.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Isn't the president going to be stronger and harder to beat if he survives this? The answer is yes.
Interesting strategy.
It is my profound honor to be the first president in history to attend the March for Life.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I'm just looking at the running accounts of the trial in the Senate, and it looks like on Breitbart. So, you know, they're obviously pro-Trump, but it looks like they're becoming more and more hysterical here in the last days of their argument. The Democrats and the Trump people are going to go 10 to 1 tomorrow, 3 hour. And Jay Sekulow said, "Call it a trailer, coming attractions." So this is going to be the longest. This is going to be the longest preview in human history. 3 hours tomorrow, but that's the way to go. Don't drag it out. 3 hours, and then that'll get them into. They'll probably just do a couple hours on Sunday, and then just use the rest of their time during the week when theoretically they'll get more more viewers. Although I stress the word theoretically, because I think the Democrats have kind of poisoned the well on this as a screen gem, as a must-see TV. It's definitely must-not-see TV. All right, 844-500-4242. There was a hearing today on a sanctuary bill at the State House. They call it the Safe Communities Act, and it's going to make the communities even more unsafe than they already are. But they had the they had the hearing today, and it was all the usual illegal aliens showing up. They're only here to work, but somehow they were able to get the day off to come to the State House to this hearing. And this was a hearing before the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. It was jam-packed again because apparently all the illegal aliens got the day off from their jobs to come over to go to Beacon Hill to push for this. And I thought they already had sanctuary, but I guess it's not enough sanctuary. They want more sanctuary, whatever that means. We are joined on the line by Maureen Maloney, and she is the mother of Matthew Denise, who was the recent college graduate in Milford, who was run over and killed by a drunk illegal alien from Ecuador a number of years ago. And she's been an angel mom, and she has become an advocate for enforcing the law, is what it amounts to. Maureen Maloney, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Hi, Howie. Thanks for having me on.
So how long was the hearing, and what was it like today on Beacon Hill?
Well, the hearing is still going on. It'll probably be going on till about 9 o'clock tonight. It's crazy like usual. You have, the usual liberals showing up, wanting to give more and more to illegal aliens, that don't want to enforce our laws. But we're a law-abiding country, and we need to enforce our laws.
I mean, what more do they need? The Supreme Judicial Court said basically that the police couldn't cooperate with the federal immigration authorities, and they used this poster boy, this person from Cambodia, and then 2 months later, their poster boy, illegal alien career criminal, almost killed a woman in a wheelchair in the West End of Boston when he was stealing $2,500 from her. And when the cops said, "Why did you do something horrible like this?" he said, "I'm a drug addict." So, I mean, why would we want to keep an illegal alien career criminal drug addict in the United States of America?
Right. And, sanctuary policies, the only people they protect are people that are criminal illegal aliens. They're not protecting the so-called law-abiding aliens. They're not protecting immigrants. Certainly not protecting American citizens. It's protecting the criminal illegal aliens.
Yeah, and I guess Peter Durant, who's you're in Milford, in the central part of the state. Peter Durant is a state rep from Spencer, a Republican. And he was asking them, what kind of crimes would you consider deportable? Were you there when he was asking the sponsors of this legislation that question?
No, I stepped out during that part, but he was pretty good with asking questions. He was probably the only one that would ask questions of those supporting the sanctuary state bill.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden the other day, did you see what Joe Biden said in Iowa? That he would he said he would fire ICE agents who made arrests and tried to pick up illegal aliens for deportation if they had just engaged in drunk driving. He said that he didn't consider drunk driving a deportable felony.
Right, and so they are just incentivizing more and more illegal aliens to come to our country. Even the ones that aren't criminally illegal aliens, they're a burden on our society. They're having kids, we're educating their kids, we're paying for their health care. They're working off the books and not paying taxes, or they're using fraudulent Social Security numbers to work. driving wages down. So why do we want to incentivize this?
Yeah, and you know, another thing Biden said recently, he said it a couple of times in the past, but he said it again this week. He said that dreamers, so-called, are more American than Americans, and yet Harvard University did a study of so-called dreamers, and 74% of them were on welfare. I mean,
right.
why do we want?
What does that even mean? They're more American than Americans. Like, that's just foolishness. He's just trying to pander to the liberal voters.
Did you get a chance to testify, Maureen Maloney?
I did testify.
And what did you say?
Well, you know, I told the story. You know, how Matthew was killed, but then I talked about how each year, you know, thousands of citizens are killed by illegal aliens, and even more people are raped and forced into sex trafficking and are maimed and assaulted, have their identity stolen. But these are the exact people, the criminal aliens, the sanctuary policies are protecting.
What did they do? What did they say? What was their response?
Well, you know, a lot of people had left by the time I testified. They didn't boo me this time, but the committee, you know, they're just sitting up there with their eyes glazed over. They didn't have any questions for me. But I don't know if you remember this report. There was a report that ICE's Boston field office put out. It covered a 10-week period in 2018 where 456 deportable criminal aliens were arrested in Massachusetts, but ICE was only able to get half of them into custody because the local agencies did not honor the ICE detainers. So over a 10-week period, 238 convicted criminal aliens, and some of these had been previously deported, were set free in Massachusetts to rape, sell drugs, traffic drugs, kill people. And that comes out to $1,200 a year. That was for a 10-week period. So if you do the math, that's 1,200 criminal aliens a year that are set free.
And look what happened in New York recently. We've been talking about that. A 21-year-old illegal alien from Guyana. The ICE had tried to pick him up. New York had refused to turn him over. He was cut free, and he raped and murdered a 92-year-old beloved woman in a neighborhood in the outer boroughs who had taken care of the neighborhood cats. And again, there was no reason. The feds had tried to pick him up, and the New York authorities had stopped them from doing it. And now this woman dies a horrible death, totally preventable.
Well, you know, Bill de Blasio has blood on his hands. Marty Walsh is going to have blood on his hands. And these legislators, if they pass this sanctuary state bill, they're all going to have blood on their hands. And that was one of the other things I said to them is, you know, if this gets passed, you know, I want to know what you're going to say to the families of future victims that are killed by these criminal aliens that you're protecting.
Yeah. And Val Patrick, who didn't even know the name of your son, Matthew Denise, when he was asked about the case, he's now running for president. Not that he's going anywhere, but I mean, he hasn't paid any price for you know, his insane policies when it came to illegal aliens over 8 years when he was governor of Massachusetts.
Well, don't forget he's good friends with Obama. So you know, Obama, whose drunk uncle, you know, had the crash in Framingham 8 years ago, and who was here illegally, and whose
aunt was living on welfare in a Boston public housing project and you know, living off the dole, even though she was an illegal alien.
And flaunting it. She said, you know, well, you're willing to give it to me, I'm going to take it.
Right. I know. The one thing I'll say about that, Maureen Maloney, is, you know, they always used to say to me, Howie, you don't know what you're talking about. All the liberals who listen to the show, when I said illegal aliens were on welfare, when she went on TV and admitted, and you're right, she flaunted that she was an illegal alien living on welfare. Nobody ever has said I was wrong about saying that again. I mean, everybody who paid attention knew that it was true. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So is this
the guy who killed Matthew was on Mass Health. His wife was collecting welfare because they had an anchor baby.
Right. The anchor baby was in the cab of the truck. right? When he was driving drunk, all the empty beer cans were rolling around on the floor of the truck. And then he had the audacity to claim that he didn't speak either English or Spanish. So I guess the liquor store where he bought the beer, they spoke this obscure Indian dialect from Ecuador, right? According to his, and he had a record too. That's the other thing. He was an illegal alien with a record, and he was still in the country. Go ahead.
He should have been deported. If the judges and our legislators did with their job, he would have been deported, and Matthew would still be alive.
Oh, I feel. Every time I talk to you, Maureen, Maloney, I feel so sorry for you, and I appreciate your courage, and thank you for going up to that that hearing today.
Having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you again, Maureen Maloney, and thank you to Peter Durant for asking pointed questions today of these enablers of this crime wave that is and welfare dependency wave that is destroying so much of our society. 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Don't touch that dial. Howie Carr will be back after this.
This portion of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Life Change Tea, the tea that makes you go. Go to getthetea.com.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papa George, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Did you miss Howie's opening monologue today? Didn't catch that interview you were looking forward to? Well, tell me you didn't miss the Chump line. Even if you did, not to worry. Howie's got your back. Subscribe to the Howie Carr Show podcast today, and you'll get New England's talk radio king on demand. That means you listen to Howie when it's convenient for you. Subscribe to the Howie Carr Show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to rate and review. The captain thanks you.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. correct me, there already are term limits. So what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie. Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We are in our tribes. We're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about no, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore me.
I mean,
Ignore me.
that's
I was
could add to
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
Where's my card?
Hi, my name's Jane Lucas, and I am from the town of South China, Maine.
This is Al from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Hi, I'm Angela from Brewster on the Cape, and this is the one and the only Howie Carr Show.
Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no obligations investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who has the best chicken sandwich? Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, McDonald's, Wendy's, or KFC?
I'm voting for Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A has been steadily declining, 68% now.
It started strong, though. You know, that's the thing. It's, I mean, you got 5-6 choices. They can't expect to stay at 80% forever.
Taylor, you know why it's declining?
Why is that?
Because people love that chicken from Popeyes.
Did you finally cast your vote, Grace? Is that why it's declining?
No. I will not be voting.
15% say Popeyes, 2% say McDonald's, 8% say Wendy's, and 7% say Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Wow.
Those are the retro crowd, the retro chicken sandwich crowd, voting for Colonel Sanders' favorite.
The OG KFCs.
Old guard, yes, indeed. We want to take some calls on this.
Original gangster, not old guard.
Okay, I'm sorry. Whatever. OG, it works either way.
He's hip. Right. He's cool.
That's right. I want to read this story. Just this is another a related story. 6-time deportee charged in hit and run death of elderly Texan. This is just from this weekend. Sugar Land, Texas. Fort Bend County Sheriff's deputies arrested a 6-time deported Honduran career criminal alien on charges connected to the hit and run death of an 81-year-old woman. Immigration officials confirmed the illegal alien's immigration history and the placement of a detainer to prevent his possible release. The sheriff of Fort Bend County, Troy Nell, said, "This is just another very sad story about the impact of lax border enforcement on the citizens of our community." The guy's name is Marlon Alexander Zavala Alcantara, 40 years old. He'd been deported from the U.S. to Honduras on 6 previous occasions: December 2001, July 2012, October 2012, June 2013, March 2014, and January of 2015. His deportation in 2012 followed a DUI conviction, drunk driving in Houston. He was sentenced to 60 days in jail on his second drunk driving conviction. A court in Brazos County, Texas, previously convicted on his first DWI in August of 2001. Following his release from a 70-day confinement for that drunk driving case, ICE officers removed him in December 2001. He had an additional criminal history, this illegal alien did, that includes an aggravated battery in 2003 out of Miami-Dade County, where we are, a battery in 2000 out of California. This guy's a one-man crime wave across the nation. He also has at least one conviction in federal court relating to illegal reentry after to removal. The dead woman is 81. I'm Howie Carr.
Around this time of year, people often say to us, "Hey, Matthews Brothers, happy birthday. You look great for your age, and how the heck does a company stay in business for so long anyway?" We usually respond by paraphrasing Joe Biden and say 2 words: do your job. It takes a lot of people to produce our wicked, awesome made windows, and not all of us are on the production line. We have people paying bills and collecting bills, people ordering material and counting material, salespeople on the road and salespeople in the office, people maintaining the computer network that keeps us all running, and even people making stupid radio commercials. And the reason we have so many people is because there are so many jobs to do. And without each and every one of these people doing their job, the windows don't get made. Okay, we could probably do it without this stupid radio commercial guy, but not the rest. You can see the wicked, awesome, made results of our teamwork, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with 1 T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts. I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
Bernie Sanders is officially in the race for 2020. Let's look back at some of the septuagenarian's greatest hits.
Should we give tax breaks to billionaires, which is what Trump wants, or demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes?
Blah, 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 blah. It's funny. Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
We understand your wife has hired a lawyer to represent her in a possible probe into a land deal that fell apart. This was back when she was president of Burlington College.
No, it was not when she was. Let me say a word on that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to ask you, do you know she's under FBI investigation?
Excuse me. My wife is about the most honest person I know.
At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or 18 different pairs of sneakers.
People should not be dying in the United States of America when they are sick.
We will raise taxes.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Max in Phoenix, Arizona says, I'll keep saying this, Howie, all this lack of accountability in law enforcement could cost Trump the election, and it will all be because of fraud. Love the guy, but he and the Justice Department better get rolling on this. No clue why they haven't already. You know why, Max? I mean, he would like to do something about this, but I mean, the courts keep tying his hands, and you have these nuts in the legislatures, and some of them are Republicans. I mean, this is not just a Democrat problem, but you have Republicans, just look at the story here about the illegals that came out of the State House News Service in Boston. Oh, the first two stories. Oh, he's a 13-year-old boy in Alston, in Boston, part of Boston, and he's very worried that when he comes home from school, his parents won't be there. Oh, and then there's some illegal from Fall River who's concerned about, being deported too. I mean, come on. I mean, if you're in the country illegally, you're a criminal, and chances are you're a burden on society. You're a ward of the state in one way or another. They're doing some of this.
But Howie, everyone always says, "Oh, they're separating the children from their mamas, and they're separating." And I know it's been said before, but it's such a good point. What about Maureen Maloney? She's going to be separated from her son.
What about the 81-year-old woman in Texas? She's been separated from her children and her grandchildren forever by this career criminal, drunk driving, illegal alien from Honduras.
Their life is never the same. Their dreams are never the same. It's not fair. Right. It ruins people's lives. And I'm sick of people saying, you're separating families. What about the moms who are never going to see their kids again? That's something you don't get over.
What about the two anesthesiologists in Boston who were killed? Their throats were slashed. One of the survivors' families had to come from Colombia because the woman was a legal alien. The male anesthesiologist who was engaged to the female, his family had to come from the UK because he was English. And their throats were slashed by somebody who should have been deported, but they wanted to keep him in the country, even though he was a homeless vagrant criminal. So they only gave him 7 months. Oh, it's horrible. And then they announced a new thing today, Max in Phoenix. If you're paying attention here, the Trump administration unveiled a new rule to curtail birth tourism. They come into the country and they drop an anchor baby, and then they're set for life. They just come over here, they're all on welfare forever. Or they're not, or they just bring more and more in. Maybe not all of them go on welfare, but they can bring in the old parents, the grandparents, and just put them on welfare. And so, do you know how it's portrayed in the in CBS News? The headline. Here's the headline on the CBS News story. Again, this is a scam that costs the taxpayers of the United States billions of dollars a year. And this is how CBS News plays it. The Trump administration takes aim at pregnant travelers. Like they've got some kind of dogs, that are trained to detect swollen bellies of innocent women that just happen to be in the country, so that they can be detained and harassed by the evil orange man. It's
how you used to say it when I remember when I would listen to your show before I worked here, you would say undocumented. And that was a new thing, the semantics of not being able to call people illegal aliens. It was kind of a joke. Now we have gifted storytellers, pregnant travelers. It's so dishonest. It's just a way not to say what's actually happening so that people don't wake up from this massive dream we're all in. Pregnant travelers. The saga of the pregnant travelers. David, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, David.
Howie, thank you for taking my call. I was married My ex-wife was illegal at the time of our marriage, still is. Well, and in any case, I'd like to agree with almost everything that you're saying. I'm an engineer. I ask open-ended questions to a lot of people. I speak Portuguese fluently and Spanish. I've been to many parties, so I know how they use the system. Through these open-ended questions, such as, how do you have health care? How did you stay here? How do you feel about overstaying the visa or paying the $5,000 for a coyote to bring you over the border instead of paying the $160 for a visa? I've helped numerous people get here legally. I've gone to Brazil. I've been to 3 embassies there, done the paperwork for them, etc. So I don't know what kind of questions you may have, but I can say for you right now is that, and your listeners, if you hire anyone in Massachusetts, please ask for a Massachusetts driver's license, please.
Mm-hmm.
This is how, it's not 100%, but it's the most critical way to determine if you're dealing with an illegal roofer.
Right. Well, we don't have, I mean, in Massachusetts, I don't think we're giving out driver's licenses yet to illegal aliens. But, some of the states are giving out driver's licenses to illegal aliens. So now basically you have, in those states, you have 3 different kinds of driver's licenses. You have illegal alien driver's licenses, you have regular driver's licenses, and then you have the safe driver's licenses, the upgraded security that you need to to board an airliner.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's what I have now is
I
have a Florida. Yeah, the real ID. I have a real ID Florida driver's license, but in Florida doesn't give illegal driver's licenses. But I mean, this is crazy. I mean, why do we? They're talking again today on the Senate floor in the bogus impeachment trial, and they're saying President Trump is not above the law. Well, I'm telling you, illegal aliens are above the law. I mean, that's not just Biden, not just Clinton, not just Obama, but illegal aliens are above the law. They can get away with it. Somebody says, my son has a good job at Harvard and 2 master's degrees. He recently had to move out of Alston because it's become too bleeping expensive. Yet the Dreamers are living in Boston. Well, this guy, this kid, he's 13 years old. Wasn't it a school day in Boston today? He took the day off from school. It is, who brought him in to the city, to the State House? I guess his parents did. Aren't they working? His illegal alien parents? Do they live in a public housing project? Where do they live? Did anybody ask this kid this at the hearing? Thanks for the call, David. Maria, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Maria.
Hi, Howie. I have a question. With everything that's going on in not only our state, but in our country, between illegals being able to come here and stay, all the homeless problems that we have all over the West Coast, what they're doing to our president, what they're doing to us, how do we stay a united country? Is there ever going to be a point where our country is going to have to split in half like Brexit because nothing can get done between the Democrats and the Republicans?
These are excellent questions, Marie, and I don't know the answer. There's a book out by a guy. It was on the front page of the New York Times Book Review. Of course, they hated it. And he was on with Tucker a couple of nights ago. He used to work with Tucker at the old Weekly Standard magazine. I think his name is Christopher Caldwell. And he's raising these exact same questions. He says there's basically 2 Americas. There's one America that's playing by the rules and believes in the traditions and the laws and the culture that made America what it is today. And you have this other post-constitutional order, like was seen at the State House today. I mean, just as or was seen in is currently bloviating in the Senate chambers on Capitol Hill. The Constitution, the laws don't apply to them. It's just whatever they desire, whatever their feelings are. I don't know the answer, Maria. It's a really good question for late on a Friday, and I don't. What do you think the answer is?
I don't know, but I just watching everything that's been going on over the past few weeks. The Democrat Party doesn't even try to hide the fact that they don't want us and they don't like us and
Right.
they don't care about us. So how do we move forward from this? You've seen ever since they got back in power in the House, they've gotten nothing, absolutely zero done for the American people. How do we continue to do this?
I don't know the answer. I mean, and they stand up there, and again, I'm not watching it, you're not watching it, but we read the transcripts of it, or we see the lowlights of it on TV, and they're just lying to our faces. They're saying we've proven our case conclusively. What case? What is the president of the United States charged with? And then they lie when he's trying to do things. They say he's taking aim at pregnant travelers. No, he's taking aim at immigration fraud. He's not taking aim at pregnant travelers. This is a scam that's undermining the entire society by the fact that this is going on. There's more of these anchor births in the country now than there are in 48 of the 50 states every year. It just goes on, and it's just it's a welfare magnet and a crime magnet. Thanks for the call, Maria. Good call. 844-500-4242. Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Usually we just brush it off or blame ourselves, saying things like, I just lost my mojo, or we avoid it altogether with excuses like, I had a long day at work, or honey, sorry, I'm just not feeling it. But with Roman, it is easy to talk about it. It's an easily treatable malady. You don't have to live with it. And now you can do something about it with a real doctor who can prescribe real medication. It's simple, safe, and totally discreet. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your own home. The weekend's here. It's a good time to get it done. You don't have to worry about any awkward visits to the physician's office or to the pharmacy to pick up your prescription. The doctor will work with you online to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/Howie and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. Complete an online visit right now to connect with a doctor and take care of it immediately. Just go to getroman.com/Howie to get a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/Howie for a free visit to get started. Getroman.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
You're tuned into the Howie Carr Radio Network.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Captain Parker's Chowder Company, the official clam chowder of the Howie Carr Show. Pick up some today at a supermarket near you. And thanks from the bottom of the bowl.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money,
excuse
me. I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let me
would be
ask,
much better.
if I may ask one other question, Mr. President. If I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
We got any calls left, Taylor? We just lost our call screener. Got any calls?
Yeah, there were 3 calls. Bob, Jimmy, and Smeek.
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Succo from Hanson, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
I'd only just check Florida news to see how close it is to what's going on with me. How about Massachusetts news?
This one's close to home, Howie.
It does. Natick. This is a very disturbing story. Massachusetts serial pooper arrested after police catch her defecating in parking lot. Poop. Natick. A Massachusetts woman accused of defecating in the parking lot of a local Natick store for months was arrested Wednesday after she was caught in the act. Andrea Grosser, she was Grosser, 51, was charged with 8 counts of wanton destruction of property after a Natick police officer said that he saw her defecating outside the Natick outdoor store around 7 a.m. Police were first alerted to the serial pooper in December last month when the store's owner reported human feces there on 8 separate occasions since October. Police initially believed it was an animal, but then they were less baffled when they found toilet paper and other wipes.
That helps the investigation.
An officer was staked out in the parking lot Wednesday when he spotted Grosser waiting for the lot to clear. Opening the driver's side to her Lincoln she was driving a Lincoln and defecating out the door.
Pooping in style.
Grosser was pulled over after the gross deed. After driving off, she told police she was on her way to a home up the street where she worked as a nanny, but stopped because she has irritable bowel syndrome. Her employer, however, told police that Grosser had access to their restroom. I would think so. That, coupled with the length of time that passed with Grosser in the lot, led to her arrest.
Howie, this wasn't the number 1 story, though, to come out of Natick.
What was the number 1 story?
No, I'm just saying this is the number 2 story.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Ha!
844-500-4242. Someone says the pooper was just bringing yet another California fad to the East Coast. This is why we don't need this. We don't need this in Metro West. I would just say that as a neighbor. Jimmy, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Hey, Howie. Several years ago, I worked on the side briefly
for this tree removal and paving service in Waltham. And everybody there was Hispanic, found out everybody was illegal. They all had driver's licenses. The only other ones that were Americans were all jailbirds. And I had a piece of heavy equipment stolen, and it was by this company. I go to the registry. They said to save money, they shredded all titles because you can't forge them. And they have them, like photocopies. I went to court. The judge says, you challenging, the integrity of the Commonwealth, and ruled against me.
Are you challenging the integrity? How could he say that with a straight face? Any judge on any subject? Jimmy.
Every couple of years, the state police do sweeps and arrest a couple dozen people in the registry offices, and it's unbelievable. They do have driver's licenses, believe me.
Oh, I know. Someone just texted me and said illegal aliens can't get welfare unless they have driver's licenses. I mean, how many columns have I written? How many Jimmy Scott, the former police officer in Saugus, I mean, how many people has he enabled other officers of the law to arrest because they've all got phony they've all got phony birth certificates from from Puerto Rico. A guy I know in Boston said now they're using marriage licenses. They're not even bothering with birth certificates. They're forging marriage licenses out of Puerto Rico, taking them down to the registry offices and getting driver's licenses. It's ridiculous.
But the thing is, the authorities are so intimidated, they won't even investigate.
I know, all the way up to the governor. The governor doesn't want to crack down on this. I mean, it's, in New Hampshire, if you're listening to me in New Hampshire, you're so lucky to have Chris Sununu as your governor for so many reasons. And this is one of them. I mean, he has the state police at the DMVs up, as they call them up there, and they're just bagging them like right and left. They're coming across the border and trying to get these licenses, and they can't get them anymore. And I mean, it's somewhat tougher in Massachusetts, but it's still easy. And once they get the driver's licenses, they're off to the races. They get everything free in America. Everything free in America. Everything free in America. Someone says that woman is putting the ick back in Nate Ick. Yes, she is.
My mom's texting me right now about the Natick pooper. This story is really sweeping the nation.
Yes. The woman is putting the gross back in grosser for her last name. All right. Do we have time for another call or not? Bob?
We do not.
No, we don't have time. We don't have time. Okay, everybody. I'm going to go have me a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Or maybe a Popeyes if I can't find a Chick-fil-A in the neighborhood. Definitely not a McDonald's. Those McChicken nuggets turned me off forever. See you Monday. I'm Howie Carr.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire.